What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
6 Mick. Chapter 141 The Weird Abilities of Five Elders. Garp, Sengoku, Kaido, Charlotte Linlin and others were also shocked by the conquerors emanating from the four old men, and they all looked at where the five elders were sitting. Kaido licked his lips, showing excitement. What a terrifying conquerors. Even I, Kaido, have to start my own conquerors to resist. Now, that boy Yi Yu is dead. Ha ha ha, Kaido said with an arrogant smile in the strong wind as he entangled the mace conquerors in his hand. Mwah, 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 all those old monsters are angered now, bear the anger, Yi Yu. The ant held Napoleon in her hand, and also started the conquerors in her body, and was barely able to offset the momentum released by the four old men. When we suppressed rocks, the terrifying momentum came again. Yi Yu, your death has come. Auntie held Napoleon in her hand tightly and said with a laugh. The other pirates around, including Shiryu of Rain, Whitebeard too, Katakuri, Jin, Quinn, and many other strong men, were also affected by the conquerors released by the five elders. Conquerors is so scary. I didn't expect that all the five elders are conquerors owners. Moreover, their conquerors don't seem to be weaker than Yi Yu. Now Yi Yu is finished. Ha ha ha. Sengoku, Cyborg Sora, Garp and other marine elites also looked shocked. They are really powerful. They have been able to rule this world for so many years. They are definitely not just ordinary people. Now there's something good to watch. I'm afraid Yi Yu will be out of ideas. The momentum of the Marines instantly increased, and everyone found their confidence and cheered for the five elders. Uphold justice. Kill Yi Yu. Uphold justice. Kill Yi Yu. On the battlefield, with a whoosh, the four old men disappeared out of thin air. At this moment, the auras in the bodies of the four old men were at their most powerful. The aura exuded by each of them is more powerful than the old man in kimono. The fourth elder, who was wearing a dark green suit, had a bald head, had a splayed beard, and a Madara birthmark on his forehead, and his legs were emitting hot and strange flames. The surrounding temperature rose sharply, and even the ice on the ground gradually melted due to the appearance of the fourth elder. Cyborg Kong behind him had a solemn expression. Here you go, the fourth elder. The move he unleashed can burn the flames of domineering power. A more powerful existence than Marine sixth form. Sengoku murmured as a light reflected from his glasses. The old man in a dark red suit, no tie, blonde hair, and a scar on his chest also had red flames coming out of his fists. It's just that the third elder's flame is more powerful than the fourth elder. Kaido and Big Mom had never seen the five elders' attack methods before. After hearing Sengoku's explanation, they both showed surprised looks. This is the first time in history that the five elders have shown their strength in front of the world. The flame that can burn domineering energy, this sounds really weird. Kaido looked shocked. However, at this time, Kaido already believed what Sengoku said, because feeling the hot flames, his heart felt panic for no reason. There is no doubt that this flame must be blessed by Conqueror's domineering power. Big Mom also looked extremely shocked, because the Prometheus he had summoned, this usually irritable guy, was actually hiding behind him at this moment, with a look of horror on his face. There is no doubt that the flames released by the third elder and the fourth elder are more terrifying than the soul flame of Prometheus. I really didn't expect that the strength of the five elders is so terrifying. Even Prometheus felt the terror. Auntie said with shock in her eyes. Then what are the abilities of the remaining first elder and second elder? General Aokiji on the side looked curious. Yes, the attack methods of the third elder and the fourth elder are so terrifying, so those two must be even more terrifying, right? The usually lazy General Kizaru was also completely aroused curiosity and became serious and serious. Having joined Marine for decades, he is considered an old man, but he knows very little about the mysterious five elders. Five elders, that is an existence that only Marine Fleet Admiral can come into contact with. First elder, second elder, I don't know very well about their strength. Even Cyborg Kong, the handsome president of Marine, shook his head. Even he had no way of knowing the abilities of the first elder and the second elder. Just when everyone was curious, the second elder also activated his combat power to the maximum. An old man wearing a dark blue suit, long straight white hair, and a long beard had a physical change. His own white beard kept growing longer, so that in the end, those long white beards actually covered the second elder's whole body. What kind of weird ability is this? It doesn't look like much. Kaido looked suspicious. No, Kaido, keep watching. Auntie's eyes widened, and her heavily made-up face became weird. Kaido looked in the direction of the second elder in surprise, and saw that the second elder was gradually transformed into a white dragon after being wrapped in his beard. Change. The second elder shouted. A strange white light shone around him. Under this dazzling white light, a dragon roar sounded, and then the second elder turned into a white dragon. Thunder and lightning rainstorms continued in the sky, just like the weather when Kaido transformed into a white dragon. The second elder is the same as me, an animal type that can transform into a dragon. Kaido looked confused. I really didn't expect this. I originally thought that I was the only one in the world who could transform into a real blue dragon. Even Momonosuke had the ability to transform into a devil fruit after eating a devil fruit cultivated with his own blood. Dragon's abilities. Is there really another person in the world who can transform into a dragon like me? Kaido, The white dragon transformed by the five elders is much more powerful than your blue dragon. Big Mom didn't give Kaido any face and said directly to Kaido. What did you say, you old witch? After hearing that he was being looked down upon, Kaido became even more furious. You dare to call me an old witch, have you forgotten the kindness I showed you before? Kaido. Anti counterattacked with anger on her face. While the two were bickering, a powerful conqueror suddenly attacked. Buzz. Not only Kaido and Big Mom, but also the surrounding marines and pirates all showed extremely shocked looks. Katakuri, Flame Calamity Jin and others had sweat on their foreheads. Are you kidding? Even I feel scared because of conquerors. Chapter 142 Weird Ability, Dragon Transformation. Especially Katakuri, he owns conquerors and can activate conquerors to resist, but something unexpected and scary happened to him. My own conquerors will be absorbed after being opened. And the source of absorption is the Great Elder among the five elders. Conquerors exists only once in a million people, so conquerors is much rarer than the armed color and the knowledge color. This kind of conquerors, as a rare and special existence, naturally has its own special significance. But, this kind of special and rare existence can actually be absorbed, which really shocked Katakuri. Not only the pirates, but also the marines felt this terrible pressure. Fujitora smiled. Green Bull, as a new marine, was even more shocked by the strength of the five elders. I really didn't expect that our marines would actually have so many terrifying existences. I originally thought that Garp was already at the pinnacle of marine, but looking at it now, Garp is just one of the many masters of marine, and there is still a big gap between the strength of five elders. Fujitora said in surprise with a smile. Yes, especially the Great Elder, this terrifying conquerors, actually even me, Green Bull, felt the pressure. Green Bull said in shock. You know, before I was recruited to the marine headquarters, I was always called a monster. The moon is surrounded by stars, but there is no one in its eyes. Have you ever felt fear? Now, just the aftermath of Conqueror's incident has caused turmoil and shock in my heart. This is something I never expected. Even Marine Grand Fleet Admiral Sengoku, Marine Hero Garp, and even the commander of the entire army, Cyborg Sora, were moved by it. The background of world government is really huge. This terrifying conquerors may have a fight with Yu. Cyborg Kong swallowed his own saliva and said in great surprise. At this time, the elder of the five elders was wearing a black suit, with white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, a flat hat, and a scar on the left side of his face. His eyes were shining with dazzling light, his body was flying in the sky, and his lips were slightly open. Open. You must die this time. No one can save you. An ancient and profound voice spread throughout the surroundings. The attacks of the third elder and the fourth elder arrived first. The two punched and kicked each other, carrying terrifying and strange flames, and heavily bombarded Yu Conqueror's barrier. Boom. The Conqueror's barrier 1 meter away from Yu exploded directly. There was a muffled sound that could resound throughout the world. In an instant, a crazy tornado blew up on the entire ice. The Conqueror's energy was leaking crazily and impacting the surroundings. Feeling this powerful energy, the hundreds of thousands of troops in the entire coalition army were unable to move forward at all. Each and every one of them used all their strength to barely keep their bodies stable. The coalition forces within 5 kilometers from the center of the explosion were instantly dispersed by the powerful energy, and even rushed into the sky. Garp, Sengoku, Cyborg Sora, Kaido, Big Mom, Shiryu of the Rain and others who were sitting on the huge ice looked towards Yu. Everyone was completely shocked. Are you kidding? We barely managed to break through the Conqueror's defensive shield with a single blow, but it was broken by 2 five elders with just 1 blow. Sengoku, Cyborg Sora, Garp, Kaido and others swallowed their saliva and said. The strength of the 5 elders is indeed very powerful. These 4 characters are much stronger than the old man in kimono before. Big Mom said with a surprised look on his face. People all over the world also saw this scene through the live broadcast and were shocked again. The strength of the 5 elders is indeed extraordinary. What a terrifying pressure. Did it actually break through Yu's defensive shield? The red-haired Shanks and the revolutionary Long also looked at the live broadcast screen with solemn faces. 2 five elders were able to break through Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. It seems that Yu is more likely to fail this time. Yu instantly killed one of the 5 elders and completely unleashed the fighting power of everyone else. You have to hold on. Revolutionary Long said with emotion. Among the red-haired pirates, Jesus Bu and Beckman were also worried about Yu. Although one of the 5 elders was killed, it is obvious. The other 4's combat power seems to be more powerful. Beckman took a deep breath of the cigarette and said with squinted eyes. The rest can only depend on Yu's luck. The background of world government is not something we can guess at. Red-haired Shank's eyes were solemn. Even Yu was slightly surprised on the battlefield. The strange red flame seemed to be able to engulf even his own conquerors. But of course only a small part of what was leaked. Yu was surprised that this was the case. It seems that I have underestimated the strong men in this world. Just 2 people can actually break my ordinary conqueror's defensive shield. Before he obtained the gold conquerors, in that battle on top, fortunately the 5 elders did not participate in the battle. Otherwise, the outcome of the Whitebeard pirates would have been hard to say. I really underestimated you, 5 elders. Next, I'm going to take action for real. After Yu's conqueror's defensive shield was cracked, instead of showing a frustrated expression, he actually looked excited. The corners of Yi Yu's mouth raised slightly, and a burst of golden energy rose from his body, and then a Conqueror's defensive shield was once again formed 1 decimeter deep around Yi Yu. Different from the previous defensive shield, this time Conqueror's defensive shield is an absolute defense formed with the newly acquired gold Conquerors. The defense is 10 times more powerful than the ordinary Conqueror's defense shield. Moreover, Yi Yu also directly divided some of the gold Conquerors and scattered them around, forming his own Conqueror's field. A real contest begins. After defeating the 5 elders, the only person Yi Yu needs to care about in this world is the aloof I am. The expressions of the 3rd elder and the 4th elder, who were excited just now, immediately became hesitant. Because they discovered that the flames they generated by burning their domineering energy, with the blessing of this huge power, were actually 1 decimeter away from Yi Yu and could no longer move forward. How is it possible that our domineering flames can't break through his barrier? The 3rd elder and the 4th elder frowned and looked at the golden Conqueror's barrier in front of them with doubts on their faces. Impossible, even Conquerors, our flames can devour it. There is nothing in this world that our flames can't devour. The 4th elder looked extremely surprised. Immediately afterwards, the 2nd elder's attack also followed. At this time, the 2nd elder turned into a white dragon. The mere appearance of the giant white dragon created a terrifying dragon power all over the body. It can be seen that the ice below where the giant dragon went was collapsed one by one, just like the fruit power of Fujitora's smile. General Candidate Fujitora smiled, feeling the power of this dragon with his own sense of knowledge, and sweat broke out on his forehead. It's so powerful just by showing up. It's so scary, Fujitora said in shock with a smile. If I had known earlier, just the passive energy generated by Longwei would be comparable to the devil fruit ability I released. If the 2nd elder launches another attack, the power will be so terrifying that it is simply unimaginable. Chapter 143 Paramesha Fruit of 5 Elders. Kaido looked at the ice cubes that were a full height in height that spattered as the 2nd elder transformed into the White Dragon Queen, and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Did these 5 elders actually eat some dragon-related devil fruit? It's so scary. It can actually produce dragon power. Kaido widened his eyes and said in disbelief, dragon power is comparable to a human conqueror's existence. Ability that I have never dreamed of. A dragon that can produce dragon power is much more powerful than an ordinary dragon. It is equivalent to the conqueror's awakener among humans. Even, the white dragon in front of me may be trembling because of the power of the dragon, which can make him transform into a green dragon. Fortunately, we chose to join the world government side, Kaido, otherwise, we really wouldn't be able to see enough. Aunt Rao also showed a horrified look. Of course, not to mention, Katakuri, Shiryu of the Rain, Yanban and others, they all felt the dragon power of the 2nd elder, and all of them could not help but tremble with their fingers. 5 elders, are really a terrifying existence. Now, Yi Yu is probably dead, Shiryu of the Rain said with shock in his eyes as he tightly held the famous sword Lei Yu in his hand. Katakuri, after being shocked for a while, opened his mouth wide, even his scarf fell off, and he didn't care at all, exposing the fangs in his mouth. Oh my god. No. Even the 5 elders who turned into dragons, this kind of terrifying attack is not enough to break Yi Yu's defense. Is this guy Yi Yu a devil? Katakuri opened his mouth wide with a look of disbelief on his face. What? Are you kidding? Katakuri, Shiryu of the Rain said in disbelief. On the battlefield, the giant white dragon kept roaring in the sky, and then a white energy light group gathered on the dragon's claws. On top of the light group, white lightning was entangled in it. Die, Yi Yu. The white dragon in the sky roared, and a white lightning beam exploded in the air, carrying enough power to tear the entire space apart, and struck towards Yi Yu. In just a flash of light, white lightning energy struck Yi Yu's side. Yi Yu raised his eyebrows and showed a surprised look. I really didn't expect that I could turn into a white dragon. Is it a devil fruit power? Yi Yu said curiously with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Yi Yu was very curious about the 5 elders' method of transforming into a dragon by wrapping their whole bodies with beards. He didn't know whether it was an animal-type dragon fruit or what kind of strange paramesha it was. Boom. Yi Yu Zhou Shen's Golden Conqueror's defensive shield began to show slight waves. Even the huge ice layer with a depth of up to 10,000 meters began to tremble violently because of this terrifying attack. Due to the terrible aftermath, there were terrifying strong winds around, mixed with broken ice pieces blowing in the air, so that the strong men in the coalition army had to use their strength to resist. As for the marines and pirates, they were in trouble. These ice cubes flying in the air hit their faces, just like being hit by rocks rolling down the mountain. A large group of people were knocked unconscious on the spot by the impact of this energy. Everyone was so frightened that they all fell on the ice to prevent being invaded by this terrible aftermath. The commander of the entire army, Steel Bone Kong, used his fists to smash the ice cubes flying towards him, causing the ice particles to scatter in all directions. He frowned tightly and squinted his eyes. I really didn't expect that the aftermath alone could produce such a terrifying attack. If this continues, I'm afraid these hundreds of thousands of troops will be wiped out by the aftermath before even fighting. An ordinary army is completely meaningless in the face of an absolutely powerful force. There is no need for the Union Army to inflict such unnecessary damage. Listen to my order, Lieutenant General Marine, all combat forces below pirate cadres must retreat. Evacuate, 30,000 meters away from the battlefield. Cyborg Kong held his trumpet bug and shouted loudly. On the other side, the ice beneath Yi Yu's feet cracked open due to the aftermath of the attack. The edge of the ice layer with a depth of 10,000 meters broke and then slid into the sea. Is he dead? The giant dragon in the sky, its ferocious dragon head stared at the turbulent ice sputtering below and said. The next moment, before the second elder could find Yi Yu's figure, a lazy voice came from behind him. Behind you, stupid dragon. Immediately afterwards, Yi Yu appeared on top of the second elder's dragon head. Boom! A yellow shock wave appeared, exceeding the speed of light, and under such sudden circumstances, it rushed directly towards the second elder. The second elder's pupils widened. This voice was unmistakable, it was Yi Yu. But, I can't figure it out, isn't this guy Yi Yu always willing to dodge in battles? I originally thought that although Conqueror's was powerful, Yi Yu's agility was insufficient, but looking at it now, my analysis was completely wrong. Yi Yu's teleportation ability is actually superior to his dodge ability. After transforming into a dragon, his ability to see and hear will be enhanced tenfold. However, despite this, he still did not notice Yi Yu's aura, which made the second elder have to doubt. This kid Yi Yu is probably not teleporting at all, but has terrifying spatial abilities. Disappear into thin air. The second elder was so frightened that he couldn't care about anything. The dragon's body just now turned into a long white beard, and then it wrapped up into the shape of a turtle. Boom. The moment before the golden conquerors struck the second elder turned into a giant dragon turtle out of thin air. This is the second elder's strongest defensive form. Yi Yu, who was in the sky, once again showed a surprised expression. This second elder's ability was really strange. He could actually turn into a turtle. But it doesn't matter, even if you turn into a turtle, you can't resist your own golden conquerors. Boom. There was an explosion, and a huge hole with a depth of 10,000 meters appeared on the ice. The entire ice layer trembled. It could be seen that the entire huge ice surface could no longer withstand too many attacks from Yi Yu. The second elder turned into a dragon turtle. The turtle shell was blown to pieces. Half of the turtle shell flipped several times in the air and finally fell onto the ice. It slid down a kilometer on the ice, and finally stopped slowly. The entire coalition army looked confused. 5 elders. 5 elders, was another one killed? Warring States opened his mouth and said in disbelief. That terrifying white giant dragon was so vulnerable in front of Yi Yu. And, when exactly did Yi Yu run behind the white dragon? Katakori's eyes glowed red and he spoke to Shiryu of the rain beside him. I've said it before, the white dragon is no match for Yi Yu. Kaido was even more confused. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? The king of dragons who could exude dragon power, the giant white dragon that could make his blue dragon tremble, was defeated so easily by Yi Yu. And, didn't the old man with who just transformed into a giant dragon? Why are you now a turtle again? Could it be that the 5 elders didn't eat any animal fruits at all? But a weird paramesha. Hey, Big Mom, have the 5 elders been beaten into turtles? Kaido asked suspiciously to the side of Big Mom with his mouth open in a European shape. The ant on the side was still in a state of shock. After hearing Kaido's question, she slowly closed her big mouth. He swallowed hard, then opened his mouth again. Don't ask me, Kaido. My mind is in chaos right now. A battle of this level has long surpassed my understanding. This kind of terrifying battle is many times more powerful than when we killed Captain Rocks. Auntie was so excited that her eyes were even bloodshot. On the battlefield, Yi Yu looked at the dragon turtle lying on the ground with its legs in the air, with a look of surprise on his face. Sure enough, you guy, can you transform into various beasts with your beard? It's really a strange ability. Yi Yu looked up and down at the dragon turtle that had lost its shell and was amazed. I have never seen this kind of fruit ability in the One Piece anime before. The second elder in the giant cave in the ice has now transformed into a human form, with a large number of Whitebeards scattered around him. It can be seen that the current second elder, after enduring Yi Yu's terrifying golden conquerors, fell directly into a state of coma. At this moment, a huge white battle axe appeared above Yi Yu's head. Boy, you are too arrogant. An old man with white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, and a scar on the left side of his face, soared into the air, his clothes swaying in the wind, his eyes emitting bright lights, and he said angrily. The powerful conqueror's aura overflowed in bursts, and the space around 800 meters was distorted. Strong conquerors kept filling the white giant axe in the sky, and an evil wind blew across the entire sea, making the scene very strange. The Whitebeard pirates, located 10 kilometers away, looked at Conqueror's giant axe in the sky with a shocked expression. Marco narrowed his eyes and spoke first. Conqueror's transformation, the giant axe released by Yi Yu. Marco murmured. Whitebeard had a serious look on his face. I don't think so. Unlike Yi Yu's domineering conquerors, the aura produced by conquerors makes people feel a sense of darkness. Whitebeard said solemnly, holding Kong Yunchi in his hand tightly. A dark feeling. But if it weren't for Yi Yu, who would be able to achieve the state of Conqueror's transformation? Diamond Josie asked with a suspicious look on his face. Everyone else has already felt it when we were fighting on top. Now, the only possibility is the 5 elders. Doflamingo rolled his eyes and said seriously. Yes, it must be the 5 elders. I didn't expect that some of them would reach the height of Yi Yu's Conqueror's transformation. Whitebeard looked solemn. At this time, Mihawk walked over, his eyes still shining with confidence. Although this Conqueror's is very powerful, I believe that he still has no chance of winning against Yi Yu. Yi Yu's Conqueror's has made a qualitative leap in strength since it transformed into golden color. I can be sure of this. Mihawk said excitedly. Chapter 144 Yi Yu's Abnormal Defense. On the other side, on the entire battlefield, seeing the Conqueror's giant axe gathered by the great elders among the 5 elders, the combined army regained hope one by one and showed expressions of excitement. I never expected that there would be someone among the 5 elders who has a conquerors like Yi Yu. Kaido said excitedly. Now, Yi Yu may not be able to survive. Auntie also said excitedly. The 3 generals also showed excited expressions. They would have known that they had suffered a lot in Yi Yu's hands. The most important reason is that this guy Yi Yu has the power of Conqueror's transformation. That terrifying power, which integrates offense and defense, can be said to have no flaws. Now someone among the 5 elders has actually used it. How can this prevent them from regaining their confidence? Great, now we will definitely win. General Aokiji smiled. Yi Yu is the most vicious criminal in the world. If he can kill him, he must not leave any trouble behind. People all over the world were also shocked. I really didn't expect that after we have reached this situation, the final winner is still the world government. Revolutionary Long said unwillingly. Yes, that boy Yi Yu has already reached this point. Obviously, if we defeat the last 5 elders, we will gain the final victory. The revolutionary warrior E King also expressed emotion. Sabo clenched his fists. He had already regarded Yi Yu, who was about the same age as himself, as his goal in life. Seeing the fall of his idol with his own eyes made Sabo inevitably sad. Above the red-haired pirates, the core cadres, such as Beckman, Lackey, Jesus Bu and others, also showed expressions of regret. Shanks, I really didn't expect that among the 5 elders, there are actually masters who are skilled in controlling conquerors. Shanks, is a powerful guy like Yi Yu about to perish? Shanks, if this kid can survive this battle, he will definitely be a god in the future. Shanks had a solemn look on his face, narrowed his eyes, and remained silent for a long time. After a while, he slowly spoke. In my opinion, the outcome is still undecided. On the battlefield, the Great Elder continued to speak. I broke this kid's defense first, and if you add all your attacks, I don't believe this kid can survive in the end. The first elder usually has the best relationship with the second elder, and he has become angry. This time he must kill Yi Yu. With a bang, the huge conqueror's giant axe slashed at Yi Yu's head. Carrying a crazy strong wind, a space crack was directly drawn in the air. Boom! An extremely terrifying explosion sound occurred next to Yi Yu, and the entire space within sight seemed to be shaken. The entire ice layer was split into 2 halves by this axe. Even the sea was cut and divided into 2. A terrifying slash was revealed in the entire sea. You can imagine how terrifying this power is. All the birds, animals, insects, and fish within a radius of 100 kilometers were frightened and began to flee away from here. The entire battlefield was in chaos, with splattered ice fragments everywhere, flying all over the sky. The Great Elder roared in the air. His defense has been destroyed by me. Now listen to my order and attack Yi Yu. Following the Great Elder's order, the entire coalition army suddenly realized something, and each one used their best to attack crazily in Yi Yu's direction. Because the giant axe released by the Great Elder just now stirred up the entire ice layer and the sea, now Yi Yu's whole body is covered with ice slag and other ruins. The entire coalition army does not know Yi Yu's exact location, but they know that this is their only chance to kill Yi Yu. Regardless of Yi Yu's specific position, they all bombarded him indiscriminately in Yi Yu's direction. The 3rd elder and the 4th elder who were closest to Yi Yu took the lead in launching the attack after hearing the order from the elder. The armed colored conquerors wrapped around his body, and his iron fists and iron legs were burning with domineering energy. Coupled with the friction in the air when he attacked, the entire space seemed to be bursting and burning. Streams of flame appeared from the sky, transformed into the shapes of various beasts, and flew towards the place in front of Yi Yu. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the broken ice layer was filled with sparks again. Even because the energy was so huge, the entire sea boiled. People all over the world couldn't help but tremble and break into cold sweats. The scene before their eyes now is like the end of the world. Everyone knew very well that this was probably the most terrifying sight they had ever seen in their lives. The energy generated by burning conquerors is indeed huge. Cyborg Kong also led everyone to the vicinity of the battlefield. Each attack became more ferocious, completely ignoring the consumption of one's own physical energy. Kaido began his dragon form, holding a mace wrapped in purple lightning. Auntie also sent her own Napoleon, and at the same time entangled the thunder and lightning power of Zeus around Napoleon. The combined attack of the 4 emperors appears again. Hi, boom. A surging and terrifying slash appeared within people's field of vision. We must kill this boy Yi Yu this time. Kaido the beast roared loudly. Mum, with so many crazy bombings, even Yi Yu can't survive it. Your mistake is that you should not divide Fish Man Island into the territory of your Whitebeard pirates. Big Mom roared, finally telling an important reason why she joined the United Army. It turns out that Auntie has been coveting Fish Man Island for a long time. She originally wanted to take over Fish Man Island while the Whitebeard pirates were fighting Marine, but she didn't expect that this boy Yi Yu would completely mess up her plan. Auntie, who has long regarded Fish Man Island as her own territory, naturally harbors a grudge against Yi Yu. The 3 top beings, Sengoku, Cyborg Kong, and Garp, also showed their strength. Warring States transformed into a giant Buddha, roared angrily, put his hands together, recited the mantra silently in his heart, and fired out terrifying yellow shock waves one after another. Cyborg Sora and Garp's fists turned black, and they released a terrifying combined attack just like Kaido and Big Mom. Although it was just a simple punch, it exerted such power that the whole world was shattered. Just the wind of the punch completely knocked back the entire sea in front of him. The three generals also used their demonic abilities. Kizaru started to use his fruit power as if he was going crazy. Where's the terrifying beast, the 8-foot Magatama? With a loud shout, light bombs appeared one after another, bombarding Yu wildly. Kizaru looks like he won't give up until he exhausts all his physical strength. This is greatly inconsistent with Kizaru's previous character. If we can't kill Yu this time, then, no matter how hard we try, we won't be able to kill this scary guy Yu. Aokiji's face was solemn. A surging cold air appeared and rushed towards Yu's previous direction. Momosuke and Fujitora smiled, and Shiryu of the Rain slashed in the same direction as Yohane. The CP organizations activated their Marine Sixth Form and drew one after another in the air. The slashing waves created gaps in the space and rushed towards Yu. Jin kept hovering in the sky, and then released a series of fire attacks unique to his own race. Katakori's fingers transformed into glutinous rice, with armed colors attached to them, and he kept attacking the area in front of him. The technological troops behind them activated their own artillery and fired energy bombs at Yu. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Above the entire ice layer, there was a lot of noise and all kinds of weird energy, all attacking towards Yu's previous direction in an instant. Huge energy, at this moment, surged wildly, and the aftermath caused the entire sea to stir. The huge ice layer with a depth of up to 10,000 meters finally could not withstand such a terrifying attack. With a loud noise, it collapsed and fell into the sea. The entire sky was dark and filled with black smoke from the explosion. The black smoke gathered in the sky and formed black clouds. The whole area is dark. The sky and the earth are dark, the sun and the moon have no light, it's like the end of the world. The Whitebeard pirates, who were on the periphery of the ice, feeling the furious energy, all changed their faces in an instant. Mihawk, you guy actually said that Yu can resist this kind of terrifying energy. Tell me, how can he block it? Heavenly Yaksha had veins on his forehead and roared loudly at Mihawk. If all members of the Whitebeard pirates had attacked before, they might have been able to win this war. But, now, if Yu is killed, these people will definitely not end up well. Facing the revenge of Marine and even the world government, they simply cannot bear it. My Don Quixote family is finished. I made such a big fuss this time. Even if I have the identity of a celestial dragon, it will be useless. Children, don't make any noise. Listen to my command and attack with the whole army. Go rescue Yu now. Whitebeard knew that the more it was an occasion like this, the more he had to calm down and give orders to his subordinates around him. Come on. In an instant, the entire Whitebeard pirates shouted. Now the entire ice layer has basically collapsed, and the sea has returned to its ocean state. Each captain shook their sailboat and began to move forward. However, just as they turned the ship around, they saw a shocking scene. You're kidding, Dad, look. Captain Yu is fine at all. Even the Whitebeard pirates refused to believe that Yu was really so powerful. Chapter 145. Neither the five elders can do it. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. On the entire battlefield, Yu was seen flying high in the sky, his body emitting golden light, like a golden arhat, and the golden light emitting around him was very dazzling. The sudden scene shocked everyone. Especially the five elders, everyone was stunned. The great elder opened his mouth wide, with a look of shock on his face, and his lips trembled. Impossible, impossible, a joint attack by so many of us strong men, but, we didn't die. Didn't my Conqueror's giant axe break through his defense? The great elder opened his mouth wide and said exaggeratedly. The third elder and the fourth elder were also shocked, and the strange flames in their hands and feet stopped one after another. I really didn't expect, that this boy's defense power is so abnormal. Even our strongest combined attack failed to break through Yu's defense. How can we fight this war? Marine Fleet Admiral Sengoku, his glasses reflected a white light, his face the helplessness. Others, including Kaido of the 100 Beasts, and 4 Emperors, Yi, Kizaru, and Fujitora, were all swallowing their saliva crazily. Yeah, how on earth are we going to fight this war? There is no way to compete with Yu's terrifying strength. All of us can't hurt Yu with our full blow, so you can imagine that there is only one result waiting for us, and that is a huge defeat. The entire World Alliance army, faced with Yu's terrifying defense, became more and more frightened, and some even had a fear of war. Yu, this terrifying guy, seems to never have his own limit. No matter what kind of attack, he can always resist it with ease. Facing such an absolutely defensive opponent, even the coalition forces that have assembled almost the entire world's power will not be able to succeed. The Golden Lion and the others, who were tied up by the Halu Stone, laughed when they saw the scene in front of them. Ha 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 ha, world government, you despicable guys, your end has come. At this time, people all over the world saw this scene in front of them. They fell into a daze at first, and then became completely agitated. Oh my god, if you put it like that, is the World United Army going to fail? Could it be that the world government that has ruled the world for so many years was overthrown by a young man on his own? The world is really going to change. Even Long, the leader of the revolutionaries, had a shocked expression on his tattooed face. Yi Yu, this guy can withstand so many powerful attacks. It's incredible, it's incredible. Maybe, the entire world government will be overthrown. Yi Yu is really terrible. Revolutionary Long looked shocked. Yi Yu survived the attack just now, great. Sabo was excited about his idol's performance. This is really the first time I have seen such a strong guy. No, I should say that I have never even heard of such a powerful guy. The E King also sighed with emotion on his face. The world is really about to change. The Revolutionary Army and the others have been struggling for more than 10 years but have not come to an end. I really did not expect that one day, it would be broadcast to the whole world through a world live broadcast. The red-haired pirates and the elite cadres were all extremely shocked. Shanks, look, Yi Yu is not defeated. Yi Yu actually stood up from the terrifying attacks of so many strong men. Lachalu's sunglasses fell off in excitement, and he looked surprised. Appearance. Everyone in the red-haired Shanks looked over. Beckman blinked his eyes, and then looked at the big screen in disbelief. On the big screen, Yi Yu was actually unscathed. Shanks looked even more shocked. This time the world government. I'm afraid it's really going to fall. Is it hard to believe that Yi Yu is so powerful? One person can fight against almost the entire world's strongest man. On the battlefield, Yi Yu soared in the air, looked down at the people on the ice, and showed a faint smile. I said, I really underestimate you. I actually forced my Golden Conqueror's strongest defensive state, the Invincible Golden Body. You succeeded in pleasing me. You deserve praise. As a reward, please eat this blow from me. Yi Yu said with rare excitement in the sky, raising the corners of his mouth slightly. In order to maintain his strongest defensive state, the Invincible Golden Body, which means compressing the Golden Conquerors to the extreme, and then attaching it to his whole body, like a Golden Arhat, in order to achieve the strongest defensive form, Yi Yu has consumed a lot of Gold Conquerors. Gold Conquerors are consumed 10 times faster than ordinary Conquerors. Therefore, even if Yi Yu activates the recovery state of the Phoenix, there will not be much Gold Conquerors left in his body at this time. Therefore, Yi Yu decided to kill him with one blow, gathered all the Golden Conquerors in his body, and then condensed them into a ball, forming a huge golden sword in the sky, with various devil fruit abilities attached to it. It has white shock power and red magma power, and there is a large amount of yellow gleaming power gathered on the entire giant sword. All kinds of weird abilities flowed on the Golden Conqueror's giant sword, and the surrounding space seemed to be torn open. Strange lightnings shot down from the sky. Dark clouds filled the sky, and the entire earth became extremely dark. A vast and terrifying aura swept across the sky in an instant, and the strong sense of oppression caused the entire ice to crack continuously, and the sea continued to boil, with a strong tendency to annex the entire World Alliance army. The coalition forces standing on the crumbling ice opened their eyes one by one, looking at the huge Golden Conqueror's sword in the sky, and were shocked. Even Four Emperors Kaido's lips trembled in fear, looking at the golden giant sword in the sky with a dull look on his face. Is this Yi Yu's true strength? It's too scary. Kaido of the 100 Beasts was so frightened that the mace in his hand fell to the ground. Big Mom is located next to Kaido, with the same expression. Kaido, now, we have provoked a guy who shouldn't be provoked. Big Mom roared loudly, and Napoleon, Zeus, Prometheus and many other elves who were beside Big Mom ran behind Big Mom one by one, showing looks of horror. Even Cyborg Kong, the commander-in-chief of the entire army, showed a surprised look. Feeling the terrifying aura in the sky, Cyborg Kong knew very well in his heart that this time, even if the 5 elders were here, there may be a comeback. Chapter 146 Gold Conqueror's Great Sword. There was always an inexplicable fear in my heart, and bad premonitions came to my mind one after another. In the end, it was the elder who spoke first, and he could see the determination in his eyes. Don't be afraid. Yi Yu's defense just now must have consumed a lot of his conquerors. This is his last blow. As long as we can withstand his blow, Yi Yu will be finished. The Great Elder roared loudly, and with the roar of the Great Elder, the entire coalition army calmed down a little. That's right, we use the last blow and collide with Yi Yu again. I don't believe it. With so many people, how can we not take down a brat? The third elder said angrily. That's right, let's use our last blow, don't hold anything back, one strike will determine the outcome. The fourth elder said with a cold look as the strange flames rose up on his hands again. Although facing Yi Yu's attack, their hearts were full of fear, but they had no choice but to continue the attack. The third elder and the fourth elder produced a large amount of flames by burning domineering energy on their bodies, and all of these flames flew towards the great elder. A large amount of Conqueror's domineering energy gathered above the great elder's head, and those strange flames actually merged with Conqueror's. It's a pity. If we add the power of the second and fifth elders, the attack of our 5 elders will be even more terrifying. But, Yi Yu doesn't have many Conquerors now. Coupled with the attacks from Marine and Pirates, I believe we can win. The great elder kept absorbing the strength of the third and fourth elders. The strange flame cheered everyone up. After the people around heard it, their previous fear gradually subsided, and these people began to gather their own energy. The Warring States period transformed into a huge Buddha, with yellow energy in its hands shining brightly. Garp, Cyborg Kong, clenched his fist tightly, his aura rising. Kaido and Big Mom once again used their combined attack. The three generals, Aokiji, Kizaru, and Momosuke, all used their devil fruit abilities with serious expressions on their faces. This time, they were ready to use all their energy to determine the outcome with one strike. Even the marine lieutenant generals and various cadres of the Four Emperors pirate group also used their own strength. Although their strength seemed very small in front of Yi Yu, they were able to gather a large amount of energy with the strength of their numbers. The huge energy gathered was all shot towards Yi Yu in the sky at high speed. Looking at the counterattack of this group of people on the ground, Yi Yu just shook his head with a calm look on his face. You guys are really evil-minded. You don't really think that you can defeat me by gathering all your strength and launching another attack on me, do you? Yi Yu curled his lips and said with great disdain. But the five elders on the battlefield still refused to give up. Follow my attack and defeat Yi Yu. The great elder roared. Then the great elder condensed his conquerors into a huge fist and slammed it into the sky. Facing the counterattack from the people below, Yi Yu laughed contemptuously again. A bunch of guys who overestimate their own capabilities. Yi Yu snorted coldly and said disdainfully. The giant sword in the sky shines brightly with yellow light, and the entire sky is reflected in yellow. The entire sea is sparkling, as if the entire world is shrouded in golden light. The five elders were completely shocked. But driven by their inner resentment, with the combined force of the five elders taking the lead, the surging energy still rushed towards Yi Yu. Two powerful energies exploded in the sky, boom, boom. All kinds of strange energies are like countless fireworks explosions, continuing in the sky. The entire sky was filled with flames and explosive gases, making people feel deeply uneasy. Boom. Finally, there was a powerful sound in the sky, like a muffled thunder, shaking the whole world. Under this loud noise, the energy released by the World Alliance army gradually collapsed. The five elders felt a sweet sensation in their throats, and red blood spat out from their throats. However, the Golden Conqueror's giant sword released by Yi Yu showed no signs of collapsing. Layers upon layers of golden light shimmered on Yi Yu Conqueror's giant sword. Various weird devil fruit abilities emitted their unique light, and the giant sword cut through the sky, stabbing the people of the world government heavily. A dazzling light shines. The combined troops looked at the huge conqueror's sword above their heads, each one showing a look of despair. We fought together with hundreds of thousands of people, but failed in the end. Are you kidding me? A joint attack by so many strong men still failed to capture Yi Yu. It's over. It's over. This time, we are really doomed. The coalition forces roared loudly one by one, with bloodshot eyes looking at the giant sword above their heads with despair on their faces. No one in this world can stop this terrifying power. Sengoku, Cyborg Sora, Garp and other marine strongmen had pale faces. They swallowed saliva one by one, opened their mouths wide and spoke slowly. Yi Yu is really too powerful. Cyborg Kong showed an exaggerated and weird expression. If I hadn't experienced it personally, no matter how much I thought about it, I would never have imagined that there is a person in the world who can be so powerful. There is simply no limit. Warring states looked horrified. This man is dozens of times more powerful than the rocks I fought before. He is simply a monster. Garp looked surprised. Kaido and Big Mom also looked frightened, and finally Big Mom roared loudly. Chapter 147 Run away. You can't stop Yi Yu at all. Run away. You can't stop it. You can't stop it at all. Following Big Mom's roar, the entire World Alliance army was completely panicked. One by one, they scrambled and started to run away. However, how could Yi Yu's terrifying attack give these people a chance to escape? In just an instant, Yi Yu's conqueror's giant sword rushed towards the ice surface of the earth. A huge mushroom cloud rose from the sea, and powerful air waves surged towards the surrounding areas. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, who were far away from the central explosion point, were extremely frightened. At the central explosion point, even the sea was evaporated and disappeared instantly. The spreading aftermath was mixed with all kinds of weird energy, which was extremely terrifying. The fifth elder and the second elder, because their bodies were in a state of unconsciousness, there was no one to save them, and they were closest to the explosion point, so they became the most unlucky targets. From the inside to the outside, their flesh and blood exploded under the sweep of Conqueror's energy. They were directly affected by the aftermath, and suffered a heavy blow in an instant. Large mouthfuls of blood spurted out from their mouths, and finally they were completely wiped out by this terrifying force. Seeing these characters being swept away and being wiped out by this huge energy, the Great Elder, the Fifth Elder, the Fourth Elder and other powerful men all showed horrified expressions. At this time, they couldn't care less about the Second Elder and the Fifth Elder. The 3-5 elders who survived by chance picked up the little bit of Conqueror's left in their bodies and began to use Conqueror's power to escape quickly. Plague Quinn, Cracker and others were so frightened that they ran away, each one running very fast, and one could see the ferocious fear on their faces. Although Quinn is fat, he is not slow at all when running. After transforming into a Brachiosaurus, he escaped quickly and flexibly on the ice. While running, he looked at the aftermath of the explosion behind him. Quinn knew very well in his heart that no matter how hard he ran, he would never be able to escape the aftermath, but there was nothing he could do now. The only thing I can do is to stay as far away from the center of the explosion as possible to minimize the damage to myself. Katakuri and Cracker also ran away quickly with big steps on their shoulders. Brother Katakuri, we don't know if we can escape this time. Cracker said in horror. A red light flashed in Katakuri's eyes, and he looked behind him, then showed a horrified expression. No way. The range is so huge, no matter how we escape, it's impossible to escape. Katakuri has already seen the future of the Union Army through his top-notch knowledge. The Allied forces are all affected, and there is no chance of winning at all. The energy of the giant sword's explosion swept away too quickly. Kizaru used all his strength to activate his shining fruit to the limit. Even Kizaru, the lazy general, had sweat on his forehead and his mouth opened in a European shape. He's going to die. He's going to die. It's too scary. This guy Yi Yu is too scary. As time went by, each strong man was swept away by Yi Yu's terrifying energy. Fujitora smiled. Green Bull and the two newcomers who had just been transferred to the marine headquarters were affected by yellow chaotic energy and were directly suppressed into the sea on the spot. Before they entered the sea, they even heard the sound of bones breaking. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin were closer to the center of the explosion. Although Kaido transformed into a blue dragon and Big Mom also summoned Zeus and had the ability to fly, they were still swept away quickly. Due to Yi Yu's terrifying blow, the energy leaked out and produced a large amount of energy tornadoes. The center of the tornado was mixed with all kinds of weird energy, and Kaido and Big Mom, these two four emperors were affected by the weird energy. In the midst of a tornado, various strange energies are constantly eroding the two four emperors of New World. The power of hot magma directly touched Kaido's face in the tornado. In an instant, Kaido's face made a sizzling sound. After Kaido let out a scream, the blue dragon form also disappeared and turned into an ordinary human being form. Auntie suffered from the erosion of the earthquake ability in the strange tornado, and her right leg was hit by the earthquake energy fragments. The whole right leg instantly made a sound, causing a shattered fracture. Immediately afterwards, there was yellow explosive energy and white freezing power. Kaido and Big Mom completely lost their center of gravity in the tornado and could only let these energies erode them. The two people who were once the kings and subordinates of the New World, the tornado actually let out a scream like a slaughtering pig. Auntie felt regret in her heart. Originally, she and Yi Yu had no big grudges, but if she wanted to blame herself, it was because she was too greedy and listened to the instigation of her younger brother Kaido. For the sake of Fish Man Island and Wano Country's Sea Stone, I have brought my entire Charlotte family into a desperate situation. Kaido held his face and shouted loudly, feeling regretful in his heart. Before, he should have been glad that Yi Yu didn't kill him, instead of thinking about revenge against Yi Yu. Now, in Kaido's view, taking revenge on Yi Yu is such a stupid act. Yi Yu's terrifying combat power is not something that just the four emperors can compete with. Yi Yu is a man who surpasses One Piece and surpasses rocks. Garp pressed his moonwalk on the air, stepping on it, creating ripples in the air. He looked back at the aftermath of conquerors behind him, looking at the strange tornadoes everywhere, the incomplete picture of the ice being eroded, and the disaster scene of marine fleeing in all directions. He frowned tightly, with a solemn look on his face. Color. I really didn't expect that Marine's justice would be trampled on like this by a young man. Garp looked sad. Garp, you be asterisk 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 D, you are still looking behind you, don't think about anything now, hurry up and escape. Sengoku clenched his fists and roared angrily. Now the Sengoku Fleet Admiral has thought clearly in his heart, and does not want to think about honorable retirement. Now that the strength of the Marine headquarters is about to be wiped out, what is the meaning of honorable retirement? Now the Warring States period only wants to survive. As for face and so on, it's just a cloud. Now, I just want to survive and live the rest of my life stably. This is my biggest wish. This kid Yi Yu is so terrifying. Even the five elders are no match for him. What ability do I have to conquer Yi Yu? A strong person like you. Aokiji also used his own ability to directly release a huge ice bird, which sat on the ice with its feet in the air. Momosuge saw Aokiji's ability and called for help directly to Aokiji. Take me for a ride too, Aokiji. General Momosuge shouted hastily. After hearing Momosuge's cry for help, Aokiji leaned down on the ice bird and directly caught Momosuge in the air. However, as soon as Momosuge got on Aokiji's mount, the aftermath of the explosion released by Yi Yu had already hit him. The powerful energy instantly eroded Aokiji and General Momosuge. Under the huge energy, General Momosuge and Aokiji were directly knocked to the ground, and they spit out a trace of blood from their mouths. It was such a powerful force that made Aokiji and Momosuge completely lose consciousness, and their life and death were unknown. Fujitora smiled, took the sword in his hand, and unleashed a terrifying attack on the strange energy behind him, hoping to rely on his own ability to suppress the huge aftermath for a while. However, his own gravity knife, the tiger, was directly destroyed in this blow and disappeared in the aftermath of the Golden Conquerors. Seeing that his best attack had no effect, Fujitora smiled and was completely confused. My own blow was ineffective against Yi Yu's attacks from behind. It was like a stone sinking into the sea. It didn't stir up any waves, but it cost me time to escape. It's finished. I'm finished now. I'm really overestimating my capabilities. Fujitora finally realized the seriousness of the problem with a smile and wanted to run away, but he was unable to save himself. Fujitora smiled and widened his eyes. He looked at the terrifying blow behind him and fell into a look of despair. He should have been running away. His brain was so funny that he even thought about resisting Yi Yu's attack. This is a bit overestimating one's abilities. Fujitora didn't give Fujitora too much time to think about it. The next moment, Fujitora smiled and was directly wiped out in Yi Yu's Golden Conquerors. He stopped thinking, not knowing whether to live or die. Finally, the powerful force swept through at an accelerated speed. All the lieutenant generals were injured by the explosion and suffered serious internal injuries. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and then they fell heavily on the ice, not knowing whether they were alive or dead. Even Garp, who was running very fast, was affected. Garp clenched his fists, eyes widened, and turned around to look at the terrifying energy behind him. Damn boy, I really didn't expect that I would be so powerful. In front of you, I would become a person who fled. Unwilling to be reconciled, Garp activated the remaining weaponry on his body to the extreme. He groaned, all the muscles on his body bulged, and punched the strange golden conquerors behind him. The powerful fist wind swept in all directions instantly, like a line. The long dragon roared towards the golden conquerors behind Garp itself. I have used this punch to sweep across 8 mountains. I still can't believe that I will be defeated by a boy like you today. Garp roared loudly, with an air of disobedience. The powerful Ryuzakura armament haki, swung by Garp, with a terrifying aura, attacked the golden conquerors behind Garp, but the next scene made Garp completely lose confidence. His terrifying punch, after contacting Yi Yu's golden conquerors, produced no ripples, no sound, and actually seemed to have disappeared. Garp was completely shocked this time. Yi Yu, is this guy Yi Yu really a devil? Even my iron fist can't help. Garp was very confused and said in disbelief. Immediately afterwards, without giving Garp too much time to think, the terrifying golden conqueror's energy released by Yi Yu came directly towards Garp. Chapter 148 The Revolutionary Army moves out to attack Mary Joa. A terrifying aura, mixed with all kinds of weird energy, instantly surrounded Garp. Garp felt as if his body was carrying a mountain on his back, extremely heavy. There was a lot of sweat on his forehead. Even a marine hero like Garp could only hold on for 3 seconds in front of Yi Yu's golden conquerors. In the end, Garp, who was exhausted, was instantly suppressed by this terrifying golden conquerors. A large human-shaped hole appeared in the ice and fell into the sea. In an instant, the entire world's combined armies left less than 1/10 of the population. Fortunately, they were not affected, but that was only because they were far away from the center of the explosion. On the battlefield, Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly. With a thought, he separated part of the energy from the aftermath of the explosion and rushed directly in the direction of the 5 elders. We can't let you old guys escape, Yi Yu said lightly. First, it hit behind the 4th elder who was the slowest. The 4th elder had a solemn look on his face. Originally, relying on the conqueror's power, he could fly up very fast and avoid most of the energy at the center of Yi Yu's explosion. However, the golden energy behind him was not only fast. It flew up twice as fast as the aftermath of an ordinary explosion. The most important thing, and the most depressing thing for me, was that this ball of energy seemed to have eyes and kept chasing the direction of my flight. In an instant, a bad feeling suddenly surged into his heart, and the 4th elder frowned tightly, with a solemn expression on his face. Damn brat, this brat must have done it on purpose, D Yi Yu. The 4th elder cursed loudly. Under the crisis, the 4 elders had no other choice but to resist forcefully. In this desperate situation, the 4th elder could only activate his last conqueror's domineering power, and wrap his whole body with armed color. Through the defense of all corners of his body, he hoped to be able to dodge Yi Yu's attack. But all this is in vain. Yi Yu looked at the actions of the 4th elder from high in the sky, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and snorted coldly. On the battlefield, the golden conqueror's domineering energy instantly enveloped the 4 elders, and powerful pressure swept over them in an instant. The 4th elder, wrapped in the golden conquerors, felt like he was being pressed so hard that he couldn't breathe. His chest began to rise and fall violently, and he was breathing heavily, and all the veins on his body were bulging. At this time, the 4th elder knew very well in his heart that if he could not hold on, once he released his strength, he would be crushed and fractured by Yi Yu's conqueror's domineering power in an instant. The 4th elder's face turned red due to excessive exertion. Just when the 4th elder was using all his strength to resist Yi Yu's golden conqueror's stalemate, a strange white energy suddenly appeared in Yi Yu's golden conqueror's stalemate. Conqueror's circle. Kindness. The 4 elders snorted lightly, with a look of confusion on their faces. The next moment, his expression suddenly changed, because the 5 elders had already noticed this strange energy through their own vision. This is actually the energy of the Junjun fruit, the 4th elder said in surprise. The next moment, this white energy poured directly into the body of the 4th elder, shaking the conqueror's body and making a sound like shattering glass. Before the 4th elder could finish his words, there was an expression of extreme pain, followed by a scream. Under the strong pressure, the flesh and blood on the 4th elder's body burst open, and the body wrapped in domineering force was cracked inch by inch, and crackling sounds were made from time to time on the body. In less than 3 seconds, the 4th elder, an old man who once stood at the pinnacle of power, was crushed to pieces. The screams of the 4th elder made the 1st elder and the 3rd elder look horrified. Fourth, they shouted one after another, but they did not stop their escape. Immediately afterwards, the Golden Conquerors ran towards the 3rd elder again. The invincible Golden Conquerors shines brightly and looks terrifying. The 3rd elder was horrified in his heart, and even felt a little driven crazy. The screams of the 4th elder just now were still vivid in his mind. He didn't expect that this D's Golden Conquerors, would rush towards him so quickly. The horrified 3rd elder snorted fiercely, and a strange flame kicked out from his feet. With the power to burn everything in the world, he rushed towards the ball of Golden Conquerors released by behind him. Yi Yu's golden conquerors within the group, a yellow light appeared and there was a bang. The contact between the two strange energies caused a loud noise that shook the world. However, after the explosion, Yi Yu's gold-level conquerors light group continued to attack the third elder without slowing down. A-hole, I still don't believe it. As a 5 elders, I can't even bear the aftermath of Yi Yu. At this time, the third elder felt a trace of anger. The flames on his feet shone brightly and turned straight. He ran towards Yi Yu's attack. After seeing the performance of the third elder, the great elder couldn't help but shook his head and murmured. Lao San, you guy, are too reckless. You can't compete with this terrifying energy. Escape is our only way out. The great elder said helplessly. Sure enough, just as the great elder said, after the third elder turned on his red flame and rushed into the golden energy group behind, there was no sound again. Looking behind, regardless of the third elder's gaffe, the first elder's own speed was activated to the extreme. The great elder knew very well in his heart that when facing the third elder, he was either dead or disabled. It wasn't that he didn't want to save him, but he just didn't have the ability to do so. On the other side, the third elder was wrapped in golden conquerors. The angry third elder also raised his fighting spirit to the extreme. The conquerors and armed colors in his body were all activated to resist Yi Yu's golden conquerors. Feeling the third elder's resistance, Yi Yu smiled slightly and clenched his fist slightly. The third elder, who was surrounded by the golden conquerors, felt the pressure doubled in an instant. He felt like he was being squeezed by several mountains, and every cell in his body felt like it was being squashed. You can actually refine the power of conquerors to such a state, Yi Yu. You are really a devil. The third elder said in shock in the thick surroundings of conquerors. The next moment, without giving the third elder too many opportunities to speak, the entire golden conqueror's thick group began to suppress it at a very fast speed. The third elder felt that his internal organs were about to be squeezed out. His eyes widened and were filled with bloodshot eyes. In the end, blood spurted out from his suppressed mouth. The blood in the mouth of the third elder merged with Yi Yu's golden conquerors, flying in the strong wind. People all over the world were completely shocked. They originally thought that even if Yi Yu had a good chance of winning, it would at least be a protracted war. But, what they never expected was that this war, since Yi Yu started to attack, had already marked the end of this war. People from all over the world started heated discussions about Yi Yu. Is this Yi Yu so terrifying? With just one simple blow, he turned the entire battle situation around. Ha ha ha, world government is going to be finished this time, and they still want to live broadcast. Now they are slapped in the face by Yi Yu. Now it's just a matter of being slapped in the face. Is the entire world government going to be overthrown? It wasn't until one person said these words that the people around him realized what a meaningful war this was. Yeah, the world government has mobilized so much combat power, the commander of the entire army Cyborg Sora, the Marine Fleet Admiral Sengoku, and even the hero Garp in the Marine, and the 2-4 emperors combined, so many extremely strong. In this world, everyone is the dominant one. So many people, but, still haven't defeated Yi Yu. This world is about to change. After Yi Yu defeats the United World Army, will he go directly to the Holy Land Marie Joa and take out those Tianlong people? This is still very possible. After all, Yi Yu is unstoppable now. The whole world had a heated discussion about Yi Yu. Even those in the Revolutionary Army began to be shocked when they saw the situation of world government. Yi Yu. This guy Yi Yu actually defeated the coalition army with just one blow. This kid is not human at all. With the power of one person, against the entire world. This is too terrifying. Revolutionary Long had a solemn look on his face. The Ladyboy King on the side also had a look of disbelief on his face. Looking at the entire screen, that terrifying blow was just one blow. The aftermath of the explosion alone turned an area of 100 kilometers around into ashes. Even the 5 elders, beings of this level, were completely killed in front of Yi Yu. Yes, Yi Yu is so terrifying. One person's fighting power is enough to fight against the entire world. What level of existence is this? Sabo opened his mouth wide with a look of shock on his face. His own talent, in front of Yi Yu, would be instantly killed. So, Yi Yu is going to overthrow the rule of the Tianlong people. It is unimaginable that such a grand scene can be seen on the big screen through live broadcast. This is a major history of the world. The Demon King continued said with emotion. History, you are right, such a grand history, we can witness it with our own eyes today, the coming of a new era. Revolutionary Long had a solemn look on his face. Yi Yu, this boy, completed the task that he had only dreamed of completing. A young man in this world has actually taken the lead in realizing a dream that he has always dreamed of achieving. How can he do nothing here? Give me the order, Sabo. The Revolutionary Long ordered loudly. Order. After Sabo heard what Mr. Long said, his face was stunned. At this moment, shouldn't you watch the big screen and remember this moment? Why did Mr. Long start giving orders to the entire army? Ordered. Sabo looked confused. Revolutionary Long's face became solemn and he continued to speak. Send my order, and the entire army must assemble and prepare to attack the Holy Land Marie Joa. Revolutionary Long ordered loudly. Holy Land Marie Joa, the Demon King, Sabo, and the commanders of various revolutionary armies were stunned for a while, and then suddenly understood. Mr. Long, what do you mean? That's right, now is the best time to attack Mariajoya and liberate the entire world. We can't just ignore Mr. Yi Yu's actions. As revolutionaries, we have a greater responsibility for liberating all mankind. And Long's eyes became more serious. Moreover, according to the latest intelligence, Mr. Shang does not seem to have died, but is staying in Mariajoya. Revolutionary Long Zizi said. As soon as these words came out, the people around him instantly became extremely silent. Shang. He is a cadre of their revolutionary army, and he has a very good relationship with everyone. Mr. Shang, for the victory of the revolution, donated his body to the World Science Ministry for research, and his life or death is uncertain. He is a very great person, revolutionary comrades. Are you serious, Mr. Long? Sabo looked excited after hearing this. Yes, I'm really sorry. I have been hiding this news from you all just to wait for a suitable time, and now this time has come. Revolutionary Long said with a trace of apology. So, on a certain sea area of the New World, a huge revolutionary sailing ship quickly sailed towards the Holy Land Marijoa. It is the revolutionary army established in this world with the purpose of overthrowing the Tianlong people. Revolutionary Long accurately predicted the current situation in Holy Land Marijoy. The CP organization, 5 elders, and other important combat forces of Marijoy all went to deal with Yi Yu. So it is certain that the current strength of Holy Land Marijoy is very strong at this time. Emptiness. This is indeed the best time to attack. As long as the revolutionaries use all their manpower to mobilize Leon and kill Yimu, then the whole world can be liberated and freed from the shackles of the Tianlong people. Listen up, everyone in the revolutionary army, we must cherish the opportunity Mr. Yi Yu has created for us. Remember, as long as we can defeat one person in Mariajoya, the holy land of the celestial dragons, we can liberate all mankind. Revolutionary Long said with a solemn expression. This man is the real master of this world, I am. The revolutionary Long roared. I am. Except for the revolutionary Long, no one in the entire revolutionary army knew about the existence of Lord I am. So everyone looked at the revolutionary Long with great confusion. Everyone's reaction was within Long's expectation, so Long looked at the sky and finally spoke slowly. The so-called Yimu is the king of the Tianlong people in this world. She also has a title called God. Revolutionary Long Yanmu said seriously. God. According to legend, the celestial dragons are the descendants of God, which means God refers to I am. Everyone looked shocked. They have heard about the legend of the god among the Tianlong people, but they just regard it as a mythical legend. It is impossible for any of them to really think that this is the legend. The legend turns out to be true. God, that is not a product of this world. How could it exist in the human world? Moreover, the Tianlong people have been in this world for so many years. If Yimu is their ancestor, then how old is Yimu? The news that the revolutionary Long gave them was completely unbelievable to them. Dragon, are you kidding me? If Lord I am is the legendary god, how old is he? You won't tell me that he is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. Sabo said with a surprised look on his face. He didn't believe that a person could live for such a long time. After the revolutionary Long heard Sabo's question, he sighed and continued to speak with a solemn face. You're right, Sabo, that guy I am has indeed lived for thousands of years. You called him an old monster, which is appropriate. As soon as these words came out, everyone was surprised again and opened their mouths. Today they were completely shocked. Chapter 149 The nuclear bomb exploded. First, Yi Yu alone challenged most of the strong men in the world. In the end, surprisingly, one person fought against the entire coalition army. With his own strength, he defeated the strong men in the world without any fight back. With so much power, a big upset happened. Let everyone thoroughly see Yi Yu's terror. Let them know that there is really someone in this world who can do it and take over the world by himself. Then the revolutionary Long told them that there is a terrifying existence like I am in this world, and one of them has lived for thousands of years. The guy called God really exists. Surprised, I was also shocked when I first heard the news. However, what I said is true. That guy I am exists. He has lived for so many years. It is conceivable that he must be very powerful. That's why this time, I will ask everyone to go out together to fight against I am. Revolutionary Long clenched his fists and secretly made up his mind to get rid of I am, give the world a peaceful and stable life, and liberate all mankind. Don't worry, Dragon, we will definitely win this battle, and I will definitely rescue the bear. Sabo also clenched his fist tightly, and secretly made up his mind to overthrow Tianlong no matter what. Human rule, save the bears. Just like that, the revolutionaries' army quickly drove towards the Holy Land Marijoa. In another part of the sea, the 4 emperors' red-haired Shanks pirate group were also intensely discussing Yi Yu's war. The red-haired Shanks narrowed his eyes. I really didn't expect that Yi Yu would be in such a terrifying situation. Even the 5 elders were wiped out by Yi Yu's aftermath. Shanks said with a surprised look on his face. Among these coalition forces, even the 4 emperors-level existences, Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, and the red-haired Shanks would not be surprised if they were instantly killed by Yi Yu. But, I really didn't expect that even the 5 elders, the existence of Garp that everyone feared, would be wiped out by the aftermath of the Conqueror's giant sword released by Yi Yu. This is a very scary thing. Yes, although I don't know much about the strength of the 5 elders, I can tell from the battle just now that these 5 elders are definitely not ordinary people. A strong man of this level can't even withstand Yi Yu's aftermath. Beckman was completely confused. The shock that Yi Yu brought to him was so great that he didn't even know whether the screen picture in front of him was real or fake. Yes, Yi Yu actually defeated the entire combined strength army with just one blow. I'm afraid there is no one in this world who can be Yi Yu's opponent, right? Lachalu also stood in front of the big screen, with a surprised look on his face, and followed Shanks and others in agreement. No, there is another person in this world that Yi Yu may not be able to defeat. Shanks showed a strange expression. As soon as these words came out, the entire red-haired pirate group also looked shocked. Yi Yu is already in such a terrifying situation. How can there be anyone whose fighting power is higher than Yi Yu's? Yi Yu single-handedly killed most of the powerful men in this world instantly. If Yi Yu may not be able to defeat this person, then how terrifying is this person? In this world, it's already a fantasy to have this Yi Yu. How could there be someone more powerful than Yi Yu? Laikalu asked suspiciously with a dull look on his face. Whether Yi Yu is as powerful, I don't know, but what is certain is that she can definitely be on the same level as Yi Yu. Shanks said with a solemn expression. Oh, Shanks, tell me, who is it? He is so powerful. The people around him were completely curious and looked at Shanks. Even 4 emperors of the 4 emperors Shanks level swallowed their own saliva and slowly opened their mouths. This person exists. He is the one who is called God by the world, the most terrifying existence, I am. When Shanks mentioned this name, sweat started to flow from his forehead. The old monster who has been staying in the Holy Land Mariajoya, I am. Being called a god, how can you believe such a thing? Shanks. Everyone around looked at him suspiciously. Staring at Shanks. I'm not talking nonsense. I'm relatively well informed about the news about the celestial dragons. After all, I am has lived for thousands of years. It's not surprising that he is called a god, Shanks said with a serious face. After the entire red-haired pirate group saw Shanks' expression, they were completely convinced. Shanks rarely showed a serious expression, which showed that the Amu really existed. Then this time Yi Yu has made such a big noise, Master I am will definitely not spare Yi Yu. Beckman said worriedly. As a pirate, Beckman still hopes that Yi Yu can be safe and overthrow the rule of the Tianlong people. This is natural, Beckman. Master Yimu has survived for so many years, and he must have encountered a strong man of Yi Yu's level more than once. However, the rule of the Tianlong people is still very stable. What does this mean? I think you know better than me, Beckman. Red-haired Shanks said slowly. Beckman's IQ naturally understands the meaning of the red-haired Shanks. Over the years, the strong men like Yi Yu who have appeared in history must have been dealt with by I am. Oh my god, wait a minute. You mean that Lord I am, the legendary god, will also take action against Yi Yu? This war has just ended. Is a more terrifying war about to begin again? Laikalu looked dull. Originally, Yi Yu's battle with many strong men from the combined army had already shocked him to the core. This is great. From Shanks' mouth, I once again learned that a more terrifying war was about to come. Sure enough, with the arrival of every new era, there will be countless major wars. After hearing the conversation between Shanks and Beckman, the entire red-haired Shanks pirate group fell into silence again. Everyone sighed and began to think about the next war. One is called a god, and the other is called a monster. One is an old monster who has ruled the world for so many years, and the other is a young man who has just become famous. The battle between these two people can be called the battle of the century. The entire red-haired pirate group began to swallow their saliva, looking forward to this world war. There is no doubt that the next war will be more exciting than this war. They are lucky, maybe you can even see the transition between old and new eras in this world. The supernovas on the other side were also completely conquered by Yi Yu's shocking and terrifying blow. Kid, who still has the most bounty among the supernovas, widened his eyes and couldn't believe the scene in front of him. Through the big screen of the live broadcast, I saw with my own eyes the terror of Yi Yu, who could wipe out so many strong men with just one blow. Even the awesome 5 elders. In the aftermath of Yi Yu, he also disappeared completely. This kind of terrifying combat power is probably only possible by Yi Yu in the world. If Yi Yu's dream is One Piece, then there is no doubt that he will never become One Piece. It is impossible for me to surpass Yi Yu in this life. In front of Yi Yu, Kid felt like a baby facing a giant. Kira, who was behind Kid, also had a shocked expression on her face. I finally came to New World, but I didn't expect that there are so many strong people in New World. Especially Yi Yu. If Yi Yu were his opponent, there was no doubt that he wouldn't even be able to get close to Yi Yu's body and would be killed instantly. Kid, I really didn't expect that guy Yi Yu to be so terrifying. Back in the Sabayati Islands, he personally killed Marine General Sakazuki. Looking at it now, it makes perfect sense. Kira said in shock. Looking at the terrifying scene in front of the screen, the shock wave formed by the giant sword is like a nuclear bomb. 100 kilometers in radius were affected. Wherever it passed, not a blade of grass grew. Chapter 150. Let's talk about Im's strength. The warship that had been parked aside before was instantly wiped out by this powerful aftermath energy, leaving no trace of the impact behind. The entire coalition army has been completely affected at this time. It can be seen from the big screen that there is only one person running away now, and that is the highest commander-in-chief of the war, the Great Elder of the 5 Elders. At this time, the Great Elder is flying towards the sky through his own Overlord power. I have to admire the Great Elder's IQ. Although the sky is also affected by the aftermath of Yi Yu's Golden Conquerors, compared to the ground, it is much better. On the battlefield, everyone from the Whitebeard pirates. Naturally, I felt Yi Yu's terrifying attack. It was like a natural disaster. As far as the eye could see, everything was in ruins. No complete objects could be seen at all. Hoo-ha-ha-ha-ha. This boy Yi Yu is really capable. I really didn't expect that this kid has such terrifying attack methods. This is much more powerful than the attack I unleashed when I fought you, Mahawk. Whitebeard laughed heartily. Although the surrounding aftermath was terrifying, and even the sea was boiling, it was obvious that these aftermaths were controlled by Yi Yu. When he approached the Whitebeard pirate ship, he would automatically get out of the way. This is the important reason why the Whitebeard pirates and everyone else are intact and have not been severely affected. Eagle eyes. After Mahawk heard Whitebeard's words, his sharp eyes like an eagle showed a thoughtful expression. As this is Mr. Yi Yu's true strength. It seems that in the previous battle, Mr. Yi Yu didn't even use 10% of his attacks. Mahawk said with emotion. As the world's greatest swordsman, his road to becoming a swordsman is still very long. There is no need to even think about surpassing Yi Yu. Mahawk has only one thought in his heart, which is to try not to be too far away from Yi Yu. Follow Yi Yu's footsteps and make progress together. Heavenly Yaksha and Empress Hancock on the side also showed surprised expressions. The battle can still be fought like this. They finally understood it today. A blow from the sky directly defeated hundreds of thousands of coalition troops. Even if they were asked to imagine such a grand scene, they would not be able to imagine it. All this can only show that Mr. Yi Yu is really terrifying. Marco, Diamond Josie, Foil Beasta and many other captains of the Whitebeard pirates all showed excited expressions. Ha ha ha, kill them Yi Yu and let them know the consequences of offending our Whitebeard pirates. The atmosphere among the entire Whitebeard pirates is at an all-time high. Marco took out his telescope, looked at the situation on the battlefield, and opened his mouth. Now, there is only 5 elders left in the entire battlefield. On the battlefield, the fierce battle is still continuing. I'm sorry, in order to prevent anyone from disturbing me again, I have to show you how powerful I am. Yi Yu murmured from above the sky. You are the only one left, Great Elder. Yi Yu said with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. The remaining aftermath of Conqueror's incident was actually condensed into an energy ball under Yi Yu's control. The Great Elder suddenly felt cold sweat break out on his forehead. The powerful power shocked him inside. He could feel that this powerful energy could definitely tear him apart. There was a buzzing sound, and the live broadcast of the entire world was immediately interrupted. People all over the world looked surprised. The live broadcast was interrupted. Everyone frowned. Don't think about it, it must be the world government and the others. Think about it, I went to kill Yi Yu excitedly, and then I was beaten like this by Yi Yu. How could I have the nerve to continue the live broadcast? People around them said to each other. Speculations were made following the interruption of this live broadcast. But don't think about it, Yi Yu has already beaten the United World Army into this state, and the rest is just a massacre. On the battlefield, after the Great Elder cut off the live broadcast, he panted heavily, the corners of his mouth trembled, and said, Yi Yu, stop fighting, we surrender, we surrender. The Great Elder said breathlessly. In order to let Yi Yu hear his voice, the Great Elder activated his Conqueror's sound transmission, so it also reached the ears of the Whitebeard pirates and others. Great, did you hear, Dad, the World United Army is actually surrendering. Marco showed an excited look. Hoo-ha-ha-ha-ha. Yi Yu's attack is so powerful that they can't surrender even if they don't want to. Whitebeard looked excited. Yi Yu's ability to join the Whitebeard pirates is really a blessing from the Whitebeard pirates. Without Yi Yu, the United World Army would be eyeing him, and he might not be able to join the Whitebeard pirates. It is possible that they will be destroyed by the world government. Heavenly Yaksha also opened her mouth. It was hard to believe that the 5 elders, who were so high up in this world that even the Marine Fleet Admiral had to obey their orders, would actually surrender. Mr. Yi Yu, it's really scary. I'm not afraid of your jokes. I really thought that Mr. Yi Yu would fail just now, but looking at it now, Mr. Yi Yu not only successfully defeated the enemy, but he also did it very quickly. Yes, Mr. Yi Yu has defeated most of the combat power that this world government can bring. Will this world belong to Mr. Yi Yu from now on? Empress Hancock's face was filled with excitement and happiness. The white beard on the side has a serious look on his face. Is it true that the world government has been able to rule the world for so many years because of those 5 old men? This is hard to say. On the battlefield, after Yi Yu heard the words of the Great Elder of the 5 elders, he still had a calm look on his face, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and he smiled slightly. I said, 5 elders, are you kidding yourself by admitting defeat now? Yi Yu said jokingly. I said, what qualifications do you have to talk to me about admitting defeat now? Yi Yu said calmly. The 5 elders heard Yi Yu's words and looked at the exploding energy ball. All kinds of weird energy erupted from the energy ball. Although they didn't know exactly what energy it was, the Great Elder could be sure that whether it was the Golden Conquerors, in other words, all kinds of weird devil fruit abilities, even if you can't handle them, can definitely make you shed a layer of skin. So the Great Elder hurriedly said, don't kill me, don't kill me. We can negotiate, and I can give you whatever you want. Didn't Marine give you many countries as gifts and compensation to you before? I can give them to you. Double them for you, 5 elders said in horror. After hearing what 5 elders said, Yi Yu was even more amused. I said, your combat effectiveness has been wiped out by me, and you have long lost the qualifications to negotiate with me. First negotiated with Marine before because if the fight continues, the Whitebeard pirates may suffer casualties, and I also know that Marine is not the government's entire combat force. It's different now. Now how can you still be qualified? Feeling the threat of death, the Great Elder continued to speak. Don't kill me. If you dare to kill me, you will alarm a terrifying existence. By then, you will regret it. The Great Elder of the Five Elders said in horror. Originally, I didn't want to mention that terrifying existence, but with Yi Yu's attitude, if I didn't mention that level of existence, I'm afraid I would risk my life here today. Yi Yu became interested. After traveling through time, he naturally understood who the person the Great Elder was talking about was. Isn't it the aloof Yimu who claims to be a god? As for Yimu's strength, he really doesn't know much about it. Clear. Oh, how is Im's strength? Tell me, Yi Yu asked with interest. Chapter 151 Yi Yu, if you had told me earlier, your legs would not have become useless. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Lord I am, his strength, even I don't know, but I can be sure that his conquerors are not inferior to yours. Lord I am also has the power to destroy this world by himself. When the Great Elder mentioned Yi Mu, he unconsciously showed the same frightened expression as when he faced Yi Yu. It could be seen that the Great Elder was not lying. Yi Mu's strength was indeed not weak. Then tell me the basis for Im's ability to defeat me. If what you say is true, I might consider sparing you. Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly and spoke with a smile on his face. For I am, it's better to know something about it. After all, I am is the master of this world. As long as you get rid of I am, then there will no longer be a character that threatens you in this world. Lord I am, she is the same as you and has various abilities. In order to survive, the Great Elder had to reveal Lord Im's ability. Various abilities. Yi Yu suddenly became interested. Good guy, isn't this a bug just like him? It seems that I am has been able to rule the world for so many years and definitely has his own strength. The various devil fruit abilities are something that I need to seriously consider. Oh, you're not lying to me, old man. Is there really someone in this world who can have multiple abilities like me? Yi Yu said, pretending not to believe it. At the same time, the energy ball in the sky became even larger, with sizzling sounds coming from it from time to time, and bolts of lightning leaking out from the energy ball. Under this energy, the entire space began to become illusory, as if a gap had been blown out. I will never lie to you. There is indeed a god-level existence like I am above me. Spare me. As long as you are willing to forgive me, I can explain to Lord I am and let him acquiesce in your existence and give you a position above the Marine Fleet Admiral, or even above us. As long as you are willing, you are inferior to one person and superior to 10,000 people. Five elders said. Facing the threat of Yi Yu's death, the five elders felt that their fingers were constantly trembling. The fear in his heart made him unable to care about his dignity. At this time, the old man was like a bereaved dog. Then tell me what kind of abilities I am has. Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly. The reason why I talked so much nonsense with the five elders was because I wanted to know Lord Im's ability. As the saying goes, if you know yourself and the enemy, you will be victorious in any battle. For an existence of Im's level, it's better to be careful. Master Im's ability. The five elders frowned after hearing Yi Yu's words. Yimu is his master, so if he told Yi Yu like this, I'm afraid Master Yimu would be unhappy. Why, if you don't tell me, how can I believe you? Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and the energy ball slowly approached the five elders. I don't know this. Five elders looked panicked. How could this escape Yi Yu's eyes? Without too many words, with a hiss, a white cold air appeared from the energy ball, and this cold air forced into the legs of the five elders. Suddenly, the Great Elder's legs turned into a sheet of frost. The shouts of killing pigs completely resounded throughout the sky. This is not an ordinary freezing ability. My legs are actually useless. The elder said exaggeratedly, his eyes widening. The chill that was so cold that it penetrated the cells made the elder feel like his cells were constantly dying. And the most terrifying thing is that the icy chill is still continuing. The Great Elder activated his conquerors to resist, trying to stop the spread of cold air, but to his surprise, his domineering power was unable to stop the spreading trend at all. What's even more terrifying is that this icy cold came with conquerors. My own conquerors was actually swallowed by this icy coldness. Scary guy, Yi Yu is called a devil, it's true. The Great Elder thought in shock. After Yi Yu saw the Great Elder's reaction, he smiled slightly in the sky and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. If you can't remember it, I can help you. I hope you will remember it soon. Whenever I remember, my attack will stop. Yi Yu said with a smile on his face. The Great Elder was desperate, he couldn't deceive the boy in front of him at all. I said, please stop, Yi Yu. The Great Elder shouted at the top of his lungs. You can feel it, the damage caused by this cold air is irreversible. Now I have lost one leg. If I hadn't said anything, I might not have been able to save my life within a few dozen seconds. Hearing the Great Elder's lung-splitting begging for mercy, Yi Yu showed a disdainful expression. What nonsense, the Great Elder of the five elders, isn't he also so miserable in the face of life and death? If you had told me earlier, your leg would not have been ruined. Yi Yu said jokingly, as if he was the Great Elder's benefactor. The Great Elder was so depressed that he even lost his legs, yet he still pretended to be doing something good for himself. He was so inhuman. In my heart, I feel angry and depressed. However, what can I do? Yi Yu is really terrifying. In front of Yi Yu, I have no right to bargain. You can only surrender. Surrender is your only way out. Finally, the cold air on the five elders' legs finally stopped releasing. Feeling the chill in his legs dissipate, the Great Elder finally breathed out slowly. Chapter 152 Lord Im's Ability. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. I said. Lord Im's ability is. The Great Elder looked at Yi Yu with a fearful expression. It was at this time that the celestial dragons lived in a majestic palace in the holy land of Mariajoya. A woman with eyes sharper than Mahawk slowly opened her eyes, and an icy chill shot out from the woman's eyes. The woman slowly sat up from her throne. These idiots, five elders, actually messed up the matter, and they even wanted to betray me. B*********** D thing. The sound of cursing spread throughout the palace, and the surrounding servants and steel guards all lowered their heads and did not dare to speak. How dare you betray me? There is no point in living for you. I said angrily, and the surrounding objects trembled. The glassware on the table was shattered to pieces after Master Im's roar. At this time, a swordsman with a sword slowly walked from the palace and knelt in front of Im. Lord Im, the five elders have rebelled. Do you think you need me to go and kill them? The man holding the sword seemed to be in his early 30s, but his sharp eyes and the aura generated around him made it clear at a glance that this was a great swordsman. After hearing the words of the man in front of him, Im seemed a little relieved. No need, Sword Master, although you are the most powerful celestial dragon among my descendants, you can't kill the five elders right now. Im said slowly, with a tone that no one could question. Came the tone. The sword-wielding swordsman lowered his head. Yes, great Lord Im, even if I am the Sword Master, flying with my sword, it is impossible to kill Yi Yu at this moment. The Sword Master showed a unique etiquette of the Tianlong people to Im, he spoke. Go down, what I want is to execute the five elders immediately. Master Imu's rare veins on his forehead were exposed. It can be seen that the Great Elder in Five Elders actually told Yi Yu about his abilities. I am very angry about this matter. After waiting for the Sword Master to leave the temple, Im closed his eyes again, and the entire palace was filled with a strange atmosphere. On the battlefield, the Great Elder among the Five Elders began to talk about Im's abilities. Yi Yu was about to listen carefully, but the next moment, the Great Elder suddenly spit out a large amount of purple blood from his mouth. Im actually knows about the situation here. The Great Elder's eyes were round and his face was covered with bloodshot eyes. It could be seen that the Great Elder's expression was very ferocious, and he even started to pinch his own neck with his hands. Kill me quickly, Yi Yu. The Great Elder prayed to Yi Yu beside him. I saw the Great Elder's body gradually turning black from his legs, and finally turned into a burst of black smoke. The Great Elder also fell from the sky and slid down. With billowing black smoke behind him, he kept wailing across the sky. He had no strength at all, and died completely in pain. Seeing the fate of the Great Elder, even Yi Yu had a serious look on his face. The Great Elder said just now that Im discovered him. It should be this guy Im who did it. But it is still unknown what kind of strange ability Im used to kill the Great Elder. It seems that this guy Im is even more mysterious than in the anime. This guy Im is really cruel. Facing his subordinates who have been following him for so many years, he actually kills them as soon as he says. Still through such cruel means. At this time, an extremely old voice came from the entire sky. This voice was also very strange. That's because this old voice actually gives people the impression that it's impossible to distinguish between male and female. Yi Yu, first of all, let me tell you that your appearance makes me very excited, ha ha ha. 800 years later, you are the only one who can still interest me. Yi Yu smiled slightly. The ability of this guy Im seems really weird. The Holy Land Marie Joa is a full 10,000 kilometers away from me. I am actually able to shout to herself through such a long distance. Even the Whitebeard pirates, who were on the edge of the war, felt Im's voice. Everyone showed extremely shocked expressions. This man said that he had only met a strong man like Captain Yi Yu after 800 years. Could it be that this man is a being above the five elders? Marco looked shocked. Regarding Tianlong, the god of man himself knows very little. It must be him. White-bearded Edward Newgate said with serious eyes. It seems that the legend is true. There are really people who can live for such a long time, and they are like gods. The entire Whitebeard pirates instantly became restless. Is it true that there really are old monsters that have lived for so long? And how on earth was she able to send a message from such a faraway place? Why do I feel that it won't be long before Im will fight our Captain Yi Yu? Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo broke out in cold sweat on his forehead, and he suddenly remembered some memories from his childhood. According to my own memory, when I was very young, I did hear my parents say that there was a very powerful being among the celestial dragons. He was Lord Im. Just like a god. It's just that I was still very young at the time and didn't care about this kind of thing. Now think about it, Im might really have the power of God. Empress Hancock also frowned tightly. If I Am really exists, then it can be confirmed that the strongest among the celestial dragons, the king of the celestial dragons, must be very powerful. If Yi Mu wants to fight Yi Mu really has many weird abilities, and the outcome is really hard to say. The discussion among the entire Whitebeard pirates continued. Chapter 153 Hawkeye cleans the battlefield for me. I'm becoming more and more interested in you now, I am. Yi Yu said with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Ha 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 ha. The old voice came over again. Kid, you don't really think that after defeating the 5 elders, you can be on an equal footing with me, right? To tell you the truth, in my eyes, the 5 elders are just 5 old dogs. If it weren't for their pity that they are too old, I would have killed them long ago. I Am said with a sneer. Wait, Yi Yu are not qualified to be my opponent now, I will send someone to kill you. He is also a Tianlong and the strongest among my descendants. Don't confuse him with those 5 old dogs. And I wish you good luck and cherish your time. I Am said with a cold look on his face. Haha, then I will wait for the strongest man from the Tianlong people to arrive. I hope he will be faster, otherwise I will be bored. Yi Yu naturally will not be frightened by what I Am said. At this time, Yi Yu still had a calm look on his face. Then I Am stopped transmitting the message, and the whole world became quiet again. This point made Yi Yu very surprised. From the information in the anime, he originally thought that after 5 elders it would be I Am. But I didn't expect that there is another person whose strength is higher than that of the 5 elders. I don't know anything about this person, but it doesn't matter. Now that I have the Golden Conquerors, it won't be a problem to deal with one of the strongest celestial dragons. Looking at the surrounding scene again, Yi Yu scratched his head. The whole world became shattered under his blow. The surrounding islands have all been reduced to ashes and can no longer be found. Deep in the sea, he directly blew up a huge hole, and the seawater poured in, and even the sea level dropped a lot. All the clouds in the sky have become indistinguishable because they have lost their energy. Fortunately, this was a battle on the sea. If the battle had been on land, the consequences would have been even more serious. At this time, the system's pleasant prompt sounds. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for defeating the World Alliance, defeating 5 elders, Cyborg Sora, Garp, Sengoku, Kaido, Big Mom, and many other strong players. Conquerors rewards 2000 points. Reward Thunder Fruit, Surgery Fruit, Dark Fruit, and Heavy Fruit. Ding dong. Host Conquerors detected exceeded 10,000 points. Conquerors is upgraded to the strongest Conquerors. All Devil Fruit abilities are upgraded to advanced levels. The release range can reach 100 kilometers, and Conquerors can sense everything within the range. Conqueror's recovery power is increased 10 times. The total amount is increased 10 times. The speed is increased 10 times. Host. Yi Yu. Conqueror's attribute points. 10,735. Emo Guoshi Nang Li. Zhen Nang Li Gaoji, Yanzhong Nang Li, Gaoji, Su Suo Nang Li, Gaoji, Shangguang Guoshi, Gaoji, Bingdong Guoshi, Gaoji, Rongmao Guoshi, Gaoji, Busi Nao Nang Li, Gaoji, Shanglei Guoshi, Gaoji, Shoshu Guoshi Upscale. Devil Fruit. Tanuki Fruit, 3 artificial devil fruits, African hyena fruit. Skills. Flash 100 meters, Conqueror's passive defense shield Shinra Tenzheng, self-created Conqueror's fusion gold Conquerors. Items. Healing medicine, ham, burger, coke, red wine, turkey, salad. The strongest Conquerors. My Conquerors finally exceeded 10,000. Conquerors once again ushered in a qualitative leap. A release range of 100 kilometers, and as long as it is covered by your own Conquerors, you can feel everything around you within this area, and you can freely switch bodies in this area. There are also various terrifying devil fruit abilities such as darkness, thunder, etc. Now I have become stronger again. Feeling the continuous flow of Conqueror's energy in your body, it seems to be bursting out. There is no doubt that the total amount of Conquerors in your body can be described as terrifying. His future self will never appear again, and he unleashes a big move. It's a situation where Conquerors consumes a lot of gold. Yi Yu now hopes that his assassin will arrive soon so that he can test his own strength. Without a life and death battle, how would others know how strong they are? Until now, the entire battlefield has become a contest between Yi Yu and Yi Mu, and now the problem Yi Yu needs to face is the coalition forces in front of him. Looking around, there are ruins everywhere. These coalition forces have all been stunned by their own golden Conquerors. Dealing with these people is a big trouble. At this time, the Whitebeard pirates also came over on the Moby DK, with Marco sitting on the bow of the ship, looking excited. Captain Yi Yu. Captain Yi Yu. Marco kept waving to Yi Yu on the Moby DK. The corners of Yi Yu's mouth rose slightly. He was worried that he would not be able to deal with these coalition forces, but help had already arrived. After the Whitebeard pirates arrived, Marco began to praise Yi Yu non-stop. You could see Marco's extremely excited eyes, which was his true respect for Yi Yu. Captain Yi Yu, you are really amazing. I didn't expect that so many strong men would be defeated by your hands. Marco said enthusiastically. Fire Fist Ace also walked out at this time. Yes, Captain Yi Yu, even the terrifying existence of the 5 elders has been defeated by you. Except for that old monster I'm afraid no one in this world can be your opponent. The flame in Fire Fist Ace's hand flickered, and he spoke excitedly. At this time, Edward Newgate, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, also slowly came to the bow of the ship, holding Kong Yunchi in his hand, with a heroic look on his face, and spoke boldly to Yi Yu. Hoo ha 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 ha. Yi Yu really has you. Now even I, the strongest man in the world, may not be able to withstand even a single move in front of you. Mihawk also jumped directly from the boat and walked up to Yi Yu. Yi Yu, what's the name of that move you just unleashed? It was too powerful. Mihawk looked excited. Yi Yu looked at Mihawk and said, this swordsmaniac, will definitely chase him to discuss swordsmanship again in the future. Mihawk, I want to know this swordsmanship. It's very simple, I can tell you, Yi Yu said with a smile on his face. People around looked at Yi Yu and said something was wrong. Could it be that the sun was coming out from the west? How could a boy like Yi Yu be so happy about Mihawk's discussion? Sure enough, as people expected, Yi Yu spoke again, with the same smile on his face. This time, Yi Yu was not only smiling at Mihawk, but also everyone from the Whitebeard Pirates, Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, and Empress Hancock. But, you have to clean things around here. Yi Yu smiled broadly and pointed around with his finger. Looking around, there are hundreds of thousands of people lying there, not knowing whether they are alive or dead. The people of the Whitebeard Pirates finally understood. Together with Yi Yu, he wanted his group to clean up the entire battlefield. What a cunning guy. Everyone's hearts were filled with emotion. However, Mihawk did not react. Really, Mr. Yi Yu, as long as I clean up this battlefield, you can teach me the swordsmanship you used just now. Mihawk looked excited. Yi Yu smiled slightly and patted Mihawk's shoulder. So, you gotta work on it, Mihawk. Then I'll take a rest first. I'm really tired from the battle just now. After saying that, Yi Yu jumped directly to the deck, and then walked towards his dormitory, leaving only his back to everyone. This guy Yi Yu has really not changed at all. White-bearded Edward Newgate had a wry smile on his face. Too tired. Stop teasing me, okay. From the beginning to the end, Yi Yu only used one move, and the entire coalition army was completely beaten, right? Marco also said helplessly. Why do I feel I'm more tired than Yi Yu? Although Yi Yu participated in the war, Yi Yu only released an attack. As for me, watching this game, my heart is pounding and my brain is pounding. Diamond Josie also echoed. Mihawk, on the other hand, couldn't care less about the discussion and had already started cleaning the battlefield silently. Chapter 154. Hanging out with Yi Yu, my level is comparable to the 4 emperors. Looking at Mihawk, Marco spoke to Whitebeard. Dad, look, what to do with these people? Marco was naturally referring to these coalition forces. At this time, most of them were soaked in the sea, not knowing whether to live or die. Whitebeard had a solemn look on his face. Save those who can be saved. After we save these little guys, we can just release them. Our Whitebeard pirates don't have such a large-scale prison. Whitebeard looked at the densely packed coalition forces around him and said with great emotion. I have to sigh again at how powerful Yi Yu is. One person can kill so many people with just one blow. Hundreds of thousands of people. Even if Edward Newgate gave himself 3 days and 3 nights, he might not be able to kill so many people. As for these big shots, Whitebeard pointed at 5 elders, Cyborg Kong, Garp Sengoku, Kaido, Big Mom and others. Let Yi Yu handle them personally. Whitebeard said with solemn eyes. Okay, let's do it. Everyone shouted, and the Whitebeard pirates also joined in. So one by one they started fishing on the sea. On the other side, Yi Yu came to his dormitory and jumped up. Now, in a short period of time, no one from IM or the Whitebeard pirates will bother me anymore, and I can have a good sleep. Yi Yu didn't even get up from his bed until the next day. He didn't even eat lunch. As soon as we hit the gate of opening, we saw Empress Hancock. It was obvious that Empress Hancock had been waiting outside the gate for a long time. Mr. Yi Yu, great, you finally got up, I'll come in and clean up for you. Empress Hancock looked excited. The strange monk Ulki also came over from behind, with a serious expression on his face. Ulki held various foods prepared for Yi Yu, including chicken legs, sausages, red wine, foie gras and other delicacies. Mr. Yi Yu, you didn't eat yesterday. This is a delicacy specially prepared for you. I hope you like it. Yerky said with a smile on his face. Yi Yu nodded with satisfaction. He was still very satisfied with his 2 waiters. They were many times better than the waiters in the big hotel. The waiters in the big hotel all smiled in a standard way. It gave me goosebumps just looking at it, and it was obvious that the 2 waiters respected themselves from the bottom of their hearts and were 100% willing to serve themselves. Well, today's food is indeed pretty good. Bring it in, Yi Yu nodded with satisfaction. Speaking of which, he went to bed a little early yesterday and is really hungry now. So with Yi Yu's permission, the 2 people walked into Yi Yu's dormitory. It could be seen that after entering Yi Yu's dormitory, the 2 people were still full of caution, and they could see their respect for Yi Yu. As soon as Empress Hancock entered the dormitory, she immediately went to find her broom and other tools, and began to clean Yi Yu happily. Yerky glanced around Yi Yu's room and spoke slowly. Mr. Yi Yu, do you think I can put delicious food on your game table? Yerky asked in a low voice. It turned out that Erji found that it was difficult to find a dining table in Yeyu's dormitory. Yeyu only had one table, which was his game table. Put it there, Yi Yu said calmly, but he revealed a king's domineering aura that could not be questioned by anyone. At the same time, Yi Yu also scratched his head. His dormitory looked a bit small now. It was fine at first. He just played standalone games on the game console. But in the past 2 days, that guy Caesar really made a computer. Although it is not connected to the internet yet, it is a computer after all. Computer standalone games have much larger storage than game console standalone games, so they are naturally more fun. So, Yi Yu freed up one of his previous desks and used it as his current computer desk. This also reminded Yi Yu of two people, the Golden Lion and General Zephyr. Didn't these two guys get themselves comic books or something? And maybe they could bring some valuable gifts to themselves. Yesterday I was too tired after the fight, so I didn't think about anything about Golden Lion and the others. So Yi Yu opened his mouth and asked Yerky, how are the two guys, Golden Lion and Zephyr? I remember, weren't these two guys arrested by the world government? They won't be affected by my attack. Next, it was also affected, right? Yi Yu asked. Mr. Yi Yu, the Golden Lion Shiki guy, and former Marine General Zephyr, have been rescued by our Whitebeard pirates. Yerky said respectfully. Oh, are those two guys outside now? I'm waiting for their gifts. Yi Yu said with a smile. Report to Mr. Yi Yu, they are waiting for you outside. Originally, they wanted to see you yesterday, but our Whitebeard pirates saw that you were resting and did not let him in. Ulki reported truthfully. Are these two guys smart? Yi Yu said with a smile. After hearing this, Werji showed a proud expression. That's natural, Mr. Yi Yu, your shocking blow yesterday completely shocked them. They won't do it again like before. You're doing something wrong. Werji said with joy. As Yi Yu's little follower, he now feels full of dignity. Yi Yu is the first person in the past hundreds of years, no. It should even be said that he is the first person in thousands of years. Just by relying on his own strength, he can bring down the entire coalition army, the entire combat power of the Marines, and the two Emperor-level pirates. The directly affiliated troops sent by the five elders and other celestial dragons were beaten to a pulp. Now Yi Yu has already surpassed One Piece. No, it should be said that he has surpassed the King of Kings Rocks. He has long been the number one person in the pirate world, a strong man with great practical significance. To be able to serve as Yi Yu's little follower, that level is at least the One Piece level. No, yesterday, even the Golden Lion Shiki and the former Marine General began to fawn on themselves and let them deliver meals to Yi Yu. The purpose of saying a few nice words for them is to join Yi Yu's command. Well, these two guys are pretty good. Are their gifts ready? Yi Yu asked lightly, chewing foie gras in his hand. Mr. Yi Yu, regarding the gifts, they have actually prepared them for a long time. It is just because of the incident of Marine arresting them that they have not yet delivered the gifts to you. However, they also said yesterday that their gifts will be waiting for you. As long as you wake up and want to see them, I will give them to you immediately. Yerky bowed to Yi Yu and said, well, the gifts are ready. If it suits my wishes, I will still agree to their joining. Yi Yu responded lightly. So, Yerky bowed and slowly left Yi Yu's dormitory. Back in the hall where the Whitebeard pirates specially entertain guests. At this time, the Golden Lion Shiki and the former Marine General Zephyr had been waiting there for a long time. When they saw Yerky's arrival, they all trotted over with a smile. How's it going, Ulki? What did Yi Yu say? As soon as Ulki appeared, they began to ask anxiously. There is no way, now Yi Yu is no longer a being that they can directly contact. If they want to see Yi Yu, they must first report through Yi Yu's little follower. This is the most basic etiquette. Ulki felt so happy in his heart. He never thought that Ulki would be where he is today. To be honest, although he is a supernova, he is not very popular among others. It is simply because of his age. Being able to become a supernova at such an old age already shows that there is a huge gap in talent between him and other supernovae. Moreover, even at such an old age, his ranking among supernovae is still very low. To put it simply, the title of supernova that I managed to achieve with great difficulty is also the last among supernovas. In the new world, the status of supernovas is very low. Some supernovas are not even as respectable as a cadre of the Four Emperors group. But now, I have been able to get enough to get the Golden Lion Shiki, who is more terrifying than the Four Emperors, to fawn over me. Yes, all of this is naturally a blessing to Mr. Yi Yu. Mr. Yi Yu's existence was enough to raise his level several levels at once. Chapter 155 The Golden Lion has become honest. Don't worry, your affairs are all thanks to me. Originally, Mr. Yi Yu disliked your slow work efficiency and didn't want to see you. But with my kind words, Mr. Yi Yu reluctantly agreed to meet you. However, I have promised you in advance that your gifts must be prepared and nothing will go wrong. Ulki looked serious. Golden Lion Shiki and former Marine General Zephyr immediately showed expressions of joy after hearing this. Thank you so much, Ulki, ha ha ha, if Mr. Yi Yu is willing to reward us and let us become his subordinates, I will definitely treat you to dinner, Ulki. Both of them looked excited. Just waiting for Yi Yu to arrive and test their gifts. Of course, for Yi Yu's gift, it naturally refers to things like comic books and game consoles. As for the Whitebeard pirates' treasure, Marco and others had already passed them through yesterday. Regardless of success, or not, these treasures have already belonged to the Whitebeard pirates. Now the two of them, thinking about Yi Yu's performance last night, were inevitably shocked. They could fight against so many strong men by themselves, which they had never dared to think about before. Being able to become Yi Yu's subordinates is a blessing that they have cultivated for 8 lifetimes. Finally, Yi Yu finished breakfast, but the otaku Yi Yu did not go out directly. Instead, he played his own computer games in his dormitory. It wasn't until noon that Yi Yu stopped the game he was playing and looked at the time. It was already meal time. Well, it seems like I have to go out and walk around. I haven't seen the gifts from Golden Lion Shiki, General Zephyr and the others yet. Yi Yu yawned and started to walk towards Whitebeard, the pirate group's lobby. When they saw Yi Yu walking slowly in his slippers, Golden Lion Shiki and Zephyr hurriedly went to greet him. They should behave better in front of Yi Yu and not suffer any loss. Maybe, when Yi Yu saw their behavior like this, even if you are not satisfied with the gift, you will accept it, right? Mr. Yi Yu, you are finally here. Look at our previous agreement. Hee, I have already brought the gift. Golden Lion Shiki said with a smile on his face. Looking at Yi Yu, he didn't look as arrogant as before. The current Golden Lion was more appropriately called a kitten. Doflamingo on the side looked very surprised. You must know that Golden Lion Shiki has been here before. Last time, Golden Lion Shiki was very arrogant and even fought with himself and others in the Whitebeard pirates. It's only been a few days. I don't know if it's because Yi Yu has taught Golden Lion enough lessons, or because in this battlefield, Yi Yu alone fought against hundreds of thousands of troops, which really shocked Golden Lion. Anyway, now the Golden Lion is a great blessing to Yi Yu. Even Whitebeard, the captain of the Whitebeard pirate ship, the strongest man in the world, was shocked when he saw the performance of the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion was as famous as himself and One Piece Roger. No matter how many heroes there are, they can't catch his eye. Even that One Piece Roger and the Golden Lion only regard him as his right-hand man and want to accept him as the deputy leader. It can be seen from this, how arrogant this guy Golden Lion is. But now, in front of Yi Yu, Golden Lion behaves like a younger brother. On the side, Zephyr, after seeing the performance of Golden Lion, secretly cursed the shameless guy. This guy Golden Lion said everything he wanted to say, and made himself look stupid. Yes, Mr. Yi Yu, you have finally come out. This is the gift we prepared for you, and we hope you can accept it. Former Marine General Zephyr bowed to Yi Yu and said respectfully, as if Yi Yu was his immediate boss. Just when everyone thought Yi Yu was going to accept them as his younger brothers, who knew that Yi Yu directly said something that shocked everyone. Well, it depends on how your gifts go, but before that, I was already very hungry. For me, eating is the most important thing at the moment, so let's eat first. Yi Yu waved his hand and said calmly. Then Yi Yu, in full view of everyone, bypassed the Golden Lion Shiki and the former Marine General Zephyr, leaving only a background for everyone, and then hurried to the kitchen. The people around were stunned for a moment. This Yi Yu didn't give any face to the Golden Lion and Zephyr. He actually chose to ignore it and eat first. Although Yi Yu, you are very powerful, but I am begging you with this attitude this time. No matter what, I have to give you an answer first, even if you look at the gift. Sure enough, the strong is the strong. Facing an existence of the level of Golden Lion Shiki, he can actually ignore it. Whitebeard looked at the Golden Lion Shiki. He knew very well about Zephyr himself. Zephyr had a good temper and would not be angry because of Yi Yu's ignorance. But this guy, Golden Lion Shiki, is different. This guy, Golden Lion Shiki, is famous for his bad temper. Whitebeard is really worried that this guy, Golden Lion Shiki, will be angry because of this, and he will lose face for a while. Couldn't help but make a big fuss. So Whitebeard came to the Golden Lion Shiki, patted the Golden Lion Shiki's shoulder with his hand, and spoke slowly. Hey, Shiki, you guys should know that Yi Yu has this temper, so don't take it personally. Whitebeard said comfortingly. Who knows, Golden Lion Shiki turned his head to look at Whitebeard and actually laughed. Ha ha ha, Whitebeard, you guy, are you an old fool? How could I be angry? You just heard it, right? Yi Yu agreed, ha ha ha. As long as you finish eating, Mr. Yi Yu can watch this as our gift, this is our great honor. Golden Lion Shiki laughed, his eyes shone, and he could tell he was very excited. The people around were also confused. It is estimated that only Yi Yu in the world can make such a big change in the Golden Lion Shiki. Chapter 156 The gift has a network cable. In this way, after everyone had eaten, Yi Yu was full of wine and food and burped. Hey, I said you two guys still have gifts, don't you? Hurry up and give them to me. I have other things to do. I'm just waiting to play games. Yi Yu waved his hand and said without any politeness. Yes, Mr. Yi Yu. Golden Lion Shiki and the former Marine General were excited after hearing this, and they hurriedly ran to get their gifts. You two guys, please hurry up. I can't forgive you for delaying my gameplay. Yi Yu said calmly to the Golden Lion Shiki and others. In less than a minute, the two people ran over panting, each holding a large package in their hands. Well, you go first, Shiki. I hope your gift can arouse my interest. Yi Yu said lightly. Golden Lion Shiki swallowed his own saliva and started to open his package. At this time, Golden Lion Shiki's heart was beating crazily. The moment to decide his fate was coming. After opening the package, there were some game consoles, game discs, and some comics produced by North Blue. The most famous comics were those about Germa 66. How's it going, Mr. Yi Yu? Do you think these things of mine are okay? Golden Lion Shiki exposed his bald head, narrowed his eyes and asked expectantly. Well, these comics are enough for me to read for a while, but now that I have a computer, your game console is not very attractive to me. Yi Yu waved his hand and said calmly. This time, the Golden Lion Shiki was frightened. What did Mr. Yi Yu mean by this? Did he get eliminated? His luck would not be so bad, would he? The last time Yi Yu even told him personally that he wanted to find some game consoles to pass the time, but who knew that only a few days later, Mr. Yi Yu would no longer be interested in game consoles. Golden Lion Shiki looked at Yi Yu again with a worried mood, with a pitiful look. Even the Whitebeard pirates next to him began to sympathize with the Golden Lion, especially Whitebeard. For the Golden Lion more sympathy. The Golden Lion thought about what a majestic existence it was at the beginning. Being called a lion naturally meant the king of beasts. But who would have thought that after so many years, the Golden Lion Shiki would pray like this to join a young man? Under someone's command. Even Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, Empress Hancock and others on the side began to secretly rejoice. Fortunately, they threw themselves into Yi Yu's arms earlier than Golden Lion Shiki. Now that the pirate world is so involution, Golden Lion is just better than Golden Lion Shiki. They are a few days late, and the conditions for joining Yi Yu are becoming more and more stringent. It is certain that if they are allowed to join Yi Yu at the same time as the Golden Lion, they will definitely be rejected. They think that they do not have the strength of the Golden Lion to run around the world, and even if they can run around, there are still many strong people in the world who can stop them. If they run into other people's territory, it will be terrible. It means provoking, and you might get beaten up by some strong men. If nothing else, even if it's not the four emperors, they can't afford to offend North Blue's Germa 66 alone. Yi Yu looked at the Golden Lion and could tell that this guy was going crazy trying to join him. Yi Yu sighed helplessly. Okay, I can take a look at your game disc. Although I don't lack game consoles now, I still lack game discs. Yi Yu said lightly. After hearing Yi Yu's words, Golden Lion once again had a glimmer of hope. In order to get these game discs, he went through a lot of trouble. He even directly used his fruit ability to steal 2 game discs for 1 or 2 game discs. The king of a country. It was for this reason that he was discovered by the world government, who dispatched Marine hero Garp, Cyborg Kong and many other heavyweight masters to besiege him before arresting him. So Yi Yu took the game board and started to study it. He walked to his dormitory, still followed by a group of people. Everyone was curious whether this guy Shiki the Golden Lion would be selected by Yi Yu to join their Whitebeard pirates. After inserting these game discs into his game console, Yi Yu began to study them one by one. As an old player, he can roughly judge how fast these games are by playing these game discs for a few minutes. I have been trying several games, and I have already played half of the games. I have to say that the technology in Pirate World is very average. Compared with my previous life, these games are simply inferior. The last game disc was inserted, familiar music started playing, and Yi Yu's eyes flashed with a hint of light. Wait, is this game Contra? This really surprised me. It was hard to believe that in this world, someone would actually make this kind of gun battle game, and even the sound was almost the same as in my previous life. Entering the game interface, it turned out to be Contra. Although it was a little different from the previous life, it was basically the same. Then there were games such as Snowman Brothers and Super Mario, which made Yi Yu suddenly fall into memories and recall some things. Beautiful things. The Golden Lion Shiki on the side breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Yi Yu's expression. It seemed that Yi Yu was still interested in his game board, and he still had hope. Mr. Yi Yu, look. Golden Lion Shiki rubbed his hands with a smile on his face. After seeing the smile of Golden Lion Shiki, Yi Yu was speechless. The smile of Golden Lion Shiki was uglier than bitter. It was not natural at all. It could even be said to be ferocious. Although I have played most of your game boards, I can see some of them, and I am still very happy in my heart. From now on, you will be a member of our Whitebeard pirates, and you will be directly under my command. Just Team 0. Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly and gave Golden Lion Shiki a yes. After Golden Lion Shiki heard this, his face turned red with excitement. Even for such an old guy, he was as happy as a child. Great, great, it's my honor to be your subordinate. I will conquer this with you. Golden Lion Shiki shouted excitedly. Yi Yu waved his hands angrily. To be honest, he was not very interested in conquering the world. If it weren't for the world government guys who broke their promises and came to trouble him, he wouldn't have occupied any territory. Just when Golden Lion Shiki was overjoyed, Zephyr on the side became nervous. Golden Lion Shiki came to Yi Yu at about the same time as him. If Golden Lion Shiki finally successfully became Yi Yu's subordinate, but he was if Mr. Yi Yu refuses, he will be embarrassed and humiliated. Mr. Yi Yu, you have already seen Golden Lion Shiki's gift. Now please take a look at my gift. Zephyr and Golden Lion Shiki have the same expressions, and they also have a smile on their face. Okay, let me see if you have anything new. Yi Yu said lightly. In fact, after Yi Yu talked about the computer problem, Zephyr was still very happy in his heart. That was because he found Germa 66 and brought an important thing to Yi Yu from there. It was said that it was specifically for cooperation. Although I don't understand how to use a computer, Yi Yu must understand it. Yi Yu opened Zephyr's package and found some comic books, phone bugs and the like. Now these things were not attractive enough to him. He waited until Yi Yu took it out from the package. After 2 lines, he showed a more interested expression. These lines are very similar to the network cables I used in my previous life. Chapter 157 Network Technology in this world. Zephyr, you old man, where did you get these things? What are these things used for? Yi Yu asked curiously. After seeing Yi Yu's expression, Zephyr was secretly happy. He was afraid that Yi Yu would not be interested in his things. As long as Yi Yu was interested in his things, he would not be afraid that Yi Yu would not approve his gift. Ha ha ha. Report to Mr. Yi Yu, this thing is for use with computers. Former Marine General Zephyr said respectfully. After Yi Yu heard it, he became interested instantly. Although I don't know what this thing is called, its purpose is to connect multiple computers so that people on multiple computers can play games at the same time. I got this from Germa, and it was only invented recently. Things, if you don't mind, Mr. Yi Yu, you can give them a name. Zephyr said with a smile on his face. Well, it's indeed a good thing. Yi Yu took out these lines and watched them in front of his eyes. If you can install these things on your own computer, you can play some powerful standalone games with Bier. Of course, you can't play online games yet. After all, there is no internet in this world. Let's call this thing a network cable, Yi Yu said lightly. And, the person who made this network cable must be a genius. Do you think you can bring them over to me? Yi Yu asked curiously. Since these people can make network cables, their technology must be very advanced. Maybe if we let them do research, they might actually be able to develop some kind of network. In that case, Mr. Yi Yu, have I passed? Can I join your army? Zephyr was so excited that he swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said happily. Well, this is natural. To be honest, I am very interested in what you brought. Yi Yu said with satisfaction. After hearing Yi Yu's affirmation, Zephyr was in a good mood and even started shaking hands with the Golden Lion Shiki. Ha ha ha, Golden Lion, did you hear that? I also passed. From now on, we will be on the same team. From now on, we can all work under Yi Yu, ha ha ha. Hey, there is one prerequisite for joining me, that is, you must bring me the person who made this network cable, Zephyr. Yi Yu rolled his eyes and said slyly. There is no way. I am really looking forward to online games, so for this reason, I can only let Zephyr take a trip. Who knows, after hearing Yi Yu's request, Zephyr did not show any disappointment, but still looked excited. Ha ha ha, Mr. Yi Yu, don't worry, how could I, Zephyr, be so careless in doing things? I have already brought over the person who made the network cable, and even their team. As long as you don't mind, let me when they join your command, they are willing to carry out technical research and development for you all the time. Zephyr, the former Marine General, said excitedly. After hearing General Zephyr's words, Yi Yu showed a satisfied look. In the original book, guys like North Blue's Germa have special techniques to transform the human body. They are the only beings who can dominate an area simply by relying on technology. Although they are not stronger than the four emperors, they are not too weak either. In the entire pirate world, apart from the world-leading genius Vegapunk, Germa's technology is the most powerful in the entire world. With Yi Yu's nod of agreement, Germa's team also walked in wearing combat uniforms one by one. Facing Yi Yu, they behaved even more exaggeratedly and actually knelt down to Yi Yu on the spot. Great Mr. Yi Yu, thank you for taking us in, we will definitely develop the game for you. In fact, the reason why Germa joined Yi Yu this time was not only because of Yi Yu's huge combat power, but also an even more important reason was that when Big Mom and Kaido jointly attacked Yi Yu, Germa took advantage of the cake. The island's military strength is weak, but it unexpectedly learned of Auntie's major conspiracy. That's because Big Mom, this B************D, actually wants to occupy their kingdom. All the so-called marriages before were fake. Big Mom just wants to monopolize their technology. Now, they could no longer rely on Big Mom, so while Cake Island's troops were relatively empty, they robbed some of Cake Island's resources overnight, preparing to leave North Blue and seek a greater backer. And Yi Yu is their only first choice. Whether it is Yi Yu's strength or Yi Yu's personal combat power, he is the most powerful existence in the world. Just at this time, they met Zephyr who was looking for a game console, so naturally, they got on Zephyr's SF ship and came here. Fortunately, Yi Yu likes some high-tech things, which is a blessing in their misfortune. Now, they urgently need Yi Yu's protection, so they will naturally keep their posture very low. Yi Yu waved his hand. In my world, we don't need these boring rules. You just need to develop games for me. Yi Yu motioned for them to stand up and said calmly. After everyone in Germa stood up, Yi Yu walked towards them again and started asking. But, I have another thing that I am more interested in, which is the lines you made that can be connected to computers. I hope you can continue to improve these things. Yi Yu murmured. Said, Chapter 158 Kaido, will it cost 100 billion belly to let me go? Everyone in Germa was also interested. It seemed that Yi Yu knew these things very well. They all looked surprised at Yi Yu. It was hard to believe that Yi Yu actually understood such things. You can continue to improve them and improve them into something called a network. On this network, all computers in the world can play online games together. Yi Yu told everyone his idea. The entire Whitebeard pirates looked confused. Yi Yu was so imaginative that he could think of using all the computers in the world together. However, if this idea is to be put into action, I'm afraid it will be very labor-intensive. As a result, everyone turned their attention to Germa and others. Caesar, who was standing aside, had an excited expression on his face after hearing Yi Yu's words. As a science geek, Yi Yu himself had thought about this idea before, but it only required a lot of scientists and resources to complete it. Moreover, it is impossible for anyone to mobilize forces like this just because of these games. What this boring world needs is just strength. I put all my thoughts on how to create more devil fruits. Come up, There is no time or conditions to implement your bold ideas. However, today Yi Yu brought up his thoughts again, and he was still a little excited in his heart. After Germa and others heard Yi Yu's bold idea, they all showed surprised expressions and looked at Yi Yu with even more admiration. To be honest, they have been stagnant in the technology of network cable networking, but after hearing Yi Yu's words, a new door opened in their hearts. Yes, why didn't they think that computer networking can be achieved without that? Instead of using root wires, but through an invisible network, we can implement computer networking around the world. Yi Yu is not only a powerful man with terrifying strength, but also has an extremely high IQ. With just one sentence, they seem to have found a way to break through the ideas that have stuck them for so many years. Yes, Mr. Yi Yu, after listening to your words today, we are really enlightened. Your suggestions are very useful. We will definitely continue to move forward according to the path you pointed out. Everyone in Germa said one by one. He said excitedly. In fact, they created network cables in order to study the connectivity between various machines. In a sense, the war machines are computers. It is conceivable that if all war machines are under unified command and connected with each other, then it is certain that the combat effectiveness will be greatly improved. It's just that this road has trapped them for so many years without a breakthrough. They didn't expect that Yi Yu's words would wake them up. At this time, Caesar also began to join the discussion. However, this thing called a network that you are talking about will definitely require a lot of manpower and material resources. Without a lot of resources to support experiments, it will be very difficult to develop it. Caesar said worriedly. After hearing what Caesar said, Germa also frowned. Caesar was right. Although Yi Yu's idea was very accurate, the idea alone was not enough. To develop it successfully, more was needed. Experiment, without strong human and material support, is far from possible. Germa and his team's previous manpower and material resources were barely sufficient, but now that they have left North Blue, a large amount of mechanical equipment has been left there. If they want to rebuild a huge laboratory, the resources are simply not enough. Just when everyone was struggling for resources, a lazy voice came. Manpower and material resources, don't worry about this, don't we have it ready? Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and then looked at Whitebeard and the others. I said, the United Army should have a large number of prisoners, and those high-ranking officials must be very rich, hee. Yi Yu showed his white teeth with a wicked smile. Because our prison is very small, a total of 2,000 prisoners were captured this time, but don't worry, those high-level officials have all been arrested, and they are now in our prison. Diamond Josie said truthfully. Well, just in time, we can interrogate them. Bring them all here. Yi Yu smiled after hearing this. In this way, under Yi Yu's order, Kaido, Big Mom, Cyborg Kong, Garp, Sengoku, and even the second elder of the 5 elders were all tied up and escorted to Yi Yu. Kaido, the former 4 emperors, was the first to be escorted over. After seeing Yi Yu, his face was horrified. Yi Yu also looked at Kaido of the 100 Beasts. Half of this guy's face had been affected by the aftermath of his strongest blow, and it was beyond recognition. Yi Yu, Kaido said in shock and horror. How about Kaido? How about we complete a deal? Yi Yu smiled at Kaido and said lightly. Deal? What deal? Kaido felt a little unsafe. Nothing. Do you want to leave here, Kaido? Yi Yu asked with a smile. Leave here. At first, Kaido didn't react, but later he understood. Did Yi Yu want to let him go? Kaido doesn't mind the death that much, but if he is imprisoned in the Whitebeard pirates, he will lose a very important thing, that is freedom. Losing freedom will make Kaido more uncomfortable than killing Kaido. Therefore, Kaido naturally hopes to leave this ghost place. Stop joking, Yi Yu, are you going to let me go? Kaido looked at Yi Yu with a suspicious look on his face. I have been your enemy many times. I don't believe that you will let me go. Although Kaido was a little afraid of Yi Yu, as a 4 emperors, he still screamed at Yi Yu. Ha ha ha, Kaido, you are right. You have indeed been my enemy many times, but I don't care. Yi Yu said with a faint smile. After all, you don't pose any threat to me. To put it bluntly, even if I was lying on the bed sleeping and you attacked me, you wouldn't be able to cause any harm to me, right? Yi Yu said. He said with a smile. Even if you sleep, I can't harm you. After Kaido heard this, his old face turned red. He was so unbearable in front of Yi Yu. However, he seemed to have no room to refute. After all, what Yi Yu said it's true. Yi Yu's abnormal defense power, even if he is asleep and defenseless, and allows himself to kill Yi Yu, he really can't even hurt. Yi Yu is a terrifying person. Guy. After all, Yi Yu is a being that more than a dozen peerless experts can't defeat even after joining forces. How could a mere 4 emperors defeat Yi Yu's defense? Before, in the great prison under the sea, or even in the war, I was still a little unconvinced by Yi Yu, but now I am completely convinced. There are so many strong men who can't defeat Yi Yu, and I can't count. What? Even if he resurrects his Captain Rocks, I'm afraid it will only be to carry this boy's shoes. What are the conditions? Kaido asked through gritted teeth. After thinking about it, should I keep my life? The reason why I committed suicide before was because I knew that I would not die. But since Yi Yu appeared, Kaido was completely dumbfounded. Now half of his face is half-faced because of the impact. The impact of Yi Yu's terrifying blow has not yet recovered. God knows what kind of ability Yi Yu used. Under Yi Yu's ability, his abnormal defense and recovery power are simply not enough. What's the condition? It's simple. 100 billion belly is enough. Yi Yu looked calm. Chapter 159 Ant. Kaido, you be asterisk 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 D, you have been dragged into the water. Kaido of the 100 beasts was so angry that he almost vomited blood and died. 100 billion belly. This is not a small amount. It would take him 10 years to sell Wano's sea stone. To earn enough 100 billion belly. Here, this boy Yi Yu is simply watching a joke. The corners of Kaido's mouth kept twitching, and finally he took a breath and spoke slowly. Look, can it be a little less? 100 billion berries is really too much for me. Kaido said helplessly. With a tone of begging for mercy, he hoped that Yi Yu would give him more relief. Ah, that's right, Kaido. After all, you are just a 4 emperors, and your family is not as rich as the world government. Yi Yu said, spreading his hands. Seeing that Yi Yu was willing to think, Kaido breathed a sigh of relief and secretly thought that it was okay. He originally thought that Yi Yu was not an easy person to talk to, but now it seems that Yi Yu is still relatively easy to negotiate. But the next sentence really made Kaido vomit blood. Well, Kaido, aren't you in trouble? Then just give me 99 billion belly, and for the rest you have to give me 100 tons of sea tower stones. After all, our Whitebeard pirates have become more powerful now, and we still need the sea tower stones. Yes, then you, the beast pirates, need to send us 1,000 workers, and you will pay them. Also, I heard that you and the country's weapons are very good, and you will build 10,000 of them for us. Weapons. What do you think, Kaido? I treat you well. I saved you a billion belly. Yi Yu said with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. If you think it doesn't work, I can change it again. The smile on Yi Yu's face became even stronger. Just as Yi Yu was talking, a trace of blood left the corner of Kaido's mouth. No need to change. No need to change. Okay, just do it this way, don't change it again. The corners of Kaido's mouth filled with blood kept twitching, and now he wanted to die. Madu only lost 1 billion belly for himself, but the price he paid was almost 100 billion berry. If I had known earlier, I would not have mentioned the price reduction to Yi Yu. This is great. The more I reduce, the more it will cost. It is definitely a losing deal. Seeing Kaido become more honest, Yi Yu felt happy in his heart. If he didn't let Kaido peel off his skin this time, there was no way he could let Kaido go. Look at Kaido, you have made a lot of money. It's just such a small thing, but it has saved your life. Look at your mouth Kakuzu bleeding. If you stay here for a period of time, you won't be able to eat well or wear enough clothes. If you're not warm, I think it won't take long before you're doomed. Yi Yu continued to say jokingly to Kaido. Kaido has lost his temper now, and the corners of his mouth are bleeding. Isn't it all because of you? If it weren't for the fact that you, the lion, opened your mouth and was so anxious that your mouth would bleed. You still pretend to be a good person. Sure enough, this guy Yi Yu is still so difficult to talk to. He actually bargained with Yi Yu. He is simply asking for trouble. Kaido now only hates himself for being too stupid. He even thought that the devil in front of him would pity him. He must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Although Kaido scolded Yi Yu and himself in his heart, Kaido's face showed an expression that was uglier than crying. He had no choice but to act happy. Maybe Yi Yu has to take care of herself again and change the conditions for herself. She really can't stand it. Maybe it will bankrupt the entire country of Wano. Huh, don't you want to change it? What a pity. I originally had more plans, so okay, let's just follow this plan. Yi Yu said pretending to be helpless. Naturally, Yi Yu will not let Kaido go directly. Kaido will still need to wait for some time in his great prison. He will wait until the beast pirates fulfill their promise before Yi Yu will let Kaido go. Walk. Therefore, from among the beast pirates, Flame Calamity Ember was selected, who also managed to survive this battle. This guy was Kaido's confidant and a strange race that had escaped from the Celestial Dragon Laboratory together. Let him prepare the things Kaido promised to the Whitebeard pirates. When these things are delivered to the Whitebeard pirates, Kaido will be released. So under the aftermath of Yi Yu's strongest blow, Yan Disaster, who broke a leg, turned into a pterosaur and left here at Kaido's instruction. Next, let the Charlotte family talk to me. Yi Yu said calmly. Anyway, the sun is shining brightly now, so Yi Yu himself doesn't mind staying in the sun for a while longer to interrogate these criminals. Big Mom, like Kaido, has no temper at all when he meets Yi Yu, but instead looks a little cute, like an ant when she was young. Mr. Yi Yu, if you are willing to let me go, I will definitely give you the resources. If you need anything, just ask, I will never bargain. The ant looked at Yi Yu with a very respectful look. Kaido is better. After all, he doesn't have much attachment to survival, but ant is different. So, ant's attitude is much lower than Kaido of the beasts. Now the ant has been cursing someone in her heart, and that person is also Kaido. If it weren't for Kaido, he might be tasting his own cheese biscuits on his cake island right now. How could he be a prisoner? It would be disgusting to have to wade through this muddy water by yourself. Chapter 160 Rain Shiryu's Treasure. Well, you are quite sensible, Big Mom. Yi Yu said lightly. Let's do this. It's your first offender, and 80 billion berry compensation will be sufficient. Yi Yu said calmly. After hearing the 80 billion compensation, the corner of the ant's mouth twitched obviously, but there is no way. Now I am a fish and a man, and I have no choice but to do it. Okay, Mr. Yi Yu, I promise you. Auntie agreed directly. Originally, She wanted to bargain like Kaido, but thinking about the miserable Kaido, Andy chose to give up. The third prisoner who came up was Shiryu of the Rain. Facing the rain, Shiryu Yeyu had a hint of ridicule on his lips. Shiryu of Rain, I saved your life once. I didn't expect that you would also want to attack me. Isn't it a bit unreasonable? Yeyu said lightly while playing with a wine glass. Mr. Yeyu, you said that as long as I help you complete the task of leading the war, we will be settled. I think Mr. Yeyu, such a powerful hero, shouldn't talk casually, right? Shiryu of the Rain revealed. With a treacherous look on his face, it can be seen that Shiryu Aim knows how to fight in his heart. The people around the Whitebeard pirates frowned after hearing this. This guy Shiryu of the Rain is really messy. Doflamingo suddenly had veins on his forehead and clenched his fists. Hey, Shiryu of the Rain, you guy, what do you mean? Lousy will kill you now. Empress Hancock also looked disgusted with Shiryu of the Rain. She didn't expect there to be such a shameless guy in the world. After Yi Yu heard this, he started laughing. You are right, Shiryu of the Rain. I have said this before. Yi Yu laughed. The people around also looked at Yi Yu. Mr. Yi Yu is really kind. An ungrateful person like Shiryu Rain can be forgiven. This kind of person should be killed. Seeing that his strategy was successful, Shiryu of Rain felt a sense of security in his heart. Sure enough, all big people are bound by various evaluations. The more big people like Yi Yu are, the more afraid they are of others' bad evaluations of themselves, right? The only thing to blame is what you said in the great prison under the sea, Yi Yu. Shiryu of Rain said with secret joy in his heart. However, even if I didn't save you in the first place, you should be punished for participating in my crusade this time. Yi Yu continued to say with a smile. After hearing that his life seemed to be saved, Yuji Shiryu was overjoyed. For him, money was nothing more than an external possession, so there was no harm in giving it to Yi Yu. So Shiryu of the Rain hurriedly changed his face and started to be full of respect for Yi Yu. Mr. Yi Yu, as long as you are willing to let me go, I can give you everything I have. I have hidden all my treasures in a remote town. I will give you the map of the treasures. You just need to send them wherever you want. If you go and get it alone, you can find the place where the treasure is hidden. Yuji Shiryu said sincerely with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. I wonder how much your treasures are worth. Yi Yu said lightly. Mr. Yi Yu, don't worry, there are priceless treasures there, and I also have 3 devil fruits hidden. If all of these things are added up, they can be worth at least 100 billion berries. Shiryu of the Rain shouted loudly. This shocked the people around him. Shiryu Rain seemed to be a lone wolf. Unlike Shichibukai like Heavenly Yaksha, he had his own family business. It is not unusual for pirates like Heavenly Yaksha and Empress Hancock to have a net worth of 100 billion belly. After all, their organization has a large number of people, a large-scale industry, and even the king of a country. But after all, Shiryu is just a pirate fighting alone, but he actually has so many treasures, which is really amazing. After seeing everyone's reaction, Shiryu of the Rain became even more happy. His life must have been saved now. 100 billion belly is indeed enough, Shiryu of Rain. Originally, I only planned to ask you for 50 billion belly. Yi Yu said calmly with an expressionless face. Rain Shiryu did reveal a strange arc at the corner of his mouth, and then spoke. As long as you like it, Mr. Yi Yu, I can give you all of these 100 billion berries. Shiryu said with a smile. For these 100 billion belly, I slaughtered hundreds of cities. However, compared to my own life is naturally more important. Shiryu of Rain has decided that after he is released, he will never participate in any war again. Since he can't find anyone he wants to follow, he can just be a lone wolf with peace of mind and eat as a lone wolf. Not having to worry about drinking, and being able to kill those noobs all the time, this kind of life is quite good for Shiryu of Rain. After saying that, Shiryu of the Rain quickly took out a treasure map from his clothes, held it up with both hands, and handed the treasure map to Yi Yu's hands. After Yi Yu saw it, he smiled slightly. I say, Shiryu of Rain, you should understand what will happen to you if you dare to lie to me. Yi Yu rolled his eyes and said to Shiryu of Rain. Rain Shiryu hurriedly made a swearing expression. Please believe me, Mr. Yi Yu, I will never dare to swear in front of you. Not only those treasures, but also those devil fruits are yours. Shiryu of the Rain said with confidence. Yi Yu curled her lips and spoke to Shiryu of the Rain. I don't think you dare to deceive me, so I will take this picture. Yi Yu said calmly. Seeing that nothing was wrong with him, Shiryu of Rain prepared to return to his prison, waiting for Yi Yu to identify the authenticity of this treasure map, and then released himself. He did not deceive Yi Yu at all, so he only released himself. It's just a matter of time. But just after he took 2 steps, a lazy voice came again. It was obvious that this voice came from Yi Yu. But, our affairs seem to be not over yet, Shiryu of the Rain. Yi Yu said with a smile at the corner of his mouth, Shiryu of the Rain. Shiryu of Rain stopped in his tracks, and then looked at Yi Yu with a confused look on his face. It's not over yet. Didn't he already give the treasure map to Yi Yu? How could it not be over yet? Noticing the confused look on Shiryu's face, Yi Yu smiled again and murmured to Shiryu. Oh, it's nothing, I'm just curious, where did you get so much treasure? Yi Yu asked pretending to be curious. Rain Shiryu's heart calmed down a little. This Yi Yu probably also wants to make a fortune. Chapter 161 Judgment of Rain Shiryu. It's nothing, just plundered from some towns. For pirates, this is a normal thing. Shiryu said calmly. Doflamingo frowned. Indeed, before he became Shichibukai, he had plundered people's property, but he did not have so many treasures. The reason why Shiryu of Rain was able to plunder so many treasures in a short time. It must be because he had colluded with the government and spread his hands to the entire town through massacre. If it weren't for this most extreme method, it would be impossible for Shiryu of Rain to gather so much treasure in a short period of time. Oh, then I understand. Yi Yu said lightly. Then a yellow light appeared on his finger, which was very dazzling. There is no doubt that this is the fusion ability of his own golden conquerors plus shining fruit. Wrapped in a terrifying aura, Shiryu of the Rain felt beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Mr. Yi Yu, what are you doing? Please rest assured that my treasure map is absolutely true. Shiryu of the Rain explained hurriedly. He blamed Yi Yu's anger on Yi Yu's distrust of his treasure map. In fact, in order to obtain these treasures, he had been plundering day and night. Only then did he have so many treasures. He definitely did not deceive Yi Yu. Treasure map. Well, I believe you in this, Shiryu of Rain. I have forgiven you for joining the coalition forces to fight against me. Yi Yu said lightly, just the yellow light in his hand, but it doesn't have any dim meaning. On the contrary, it becomes even more dazzling. Then what do you mean? Shiryu of the Rain was a little confused at this time. It was really hard to believe why Yi Yu would do such a thing to him. Even that guy Kaido had repeatedly confronted Yi Yu, and in the end he couldn't believe it. He just lost some money and was not attacked by Yi Yu. Did he do something wrong? Rain Shiryu was naturally confused. Yi Yu slowly walked towards Shiryu of the Rain. Do you still need me to remind you? I don't know, do you still remember the words I said when I released you in the great prison under the sea? Yi Yu looked at Shiryu of Rain, and there was something in his eyes. There is a hint of coldness. When you release me, Shiryu of the Rain fell into thinking. At first, he looked suspicious, but after a quarter of an hour, he suddenly became panicked. That's right. When Yi Yu released himself from the great prison under the sea, he did tell himself that if his group of criminals were released, they would never harm the world. But who would have thought that what Yi Yu said was true? Is there really anyone in this world who would kill those at the top for the sake of ordinary people? Wait, Mr. Yi Yu, I hope you don't kill me. I know I was wrong. As compensation, in addition to those treasures, I am willing to join the Whitebeard pirates and become your subordinate. We can deal with Marine together. Shiryu of Rain said in panic. The people around the Whitebeard pirates, after hearing Shiryu's words, all showed contempt. Is this kind of thing worthy of joining the Whitebeard pirates? Captain Yi Yu, don't let him go. This guy is the same as Blackbeard. Keeping him here will be a major hidden danger to our Whitebeard pirates. Fire Fist Ace's eyes were cold, as if he remembered some bad things in the past, and he spoke to Yi Yu angrily. Significant hidden danger. Yi Yu showed a disdainful look to Shiryu of the Rain. This kind of thing, even if it stays in our Whitebeard pirate park, it won't cause any big waves as long as I'm here. Yi Yu said disdainfully. Shiryu of the Rain knelt down directly and begged Yi Yu bitterly. Yes, Captain Yi Yu, you are right. Even if a small character like me stays, it won't have any bad impact on your Whitebeard pirates. So, you'd better let me go. Shiryu of Rain said with a heart-breaking hiss. It's just that the people around them all scolded Shiryu of the Rain. For some reason, Shiryu of the Rain gave them the feeling that there was a shadow of Blackbeard teach. Captain Yeyu, please don't keep him. Please Captain Yi Yu, kill such an ungrateful guy. One by one, they turned to Yi Yu and hoped that Yi Yu would trigger the Shiryu of Rain. Yi Yu smiled slightly, and the yellow light in his hand was released directly. Don't worry, Yi Yu, do what I say. Since this guy didn't fulfill the promise I made in the great prison under the sea, then he deserves to be punished. Yi Yu curled the corner of his mouth and spoke slowly. People around him applauded. This Shiryu of Rain had previously told Yi Yu through his mind that he had said that he would help him fight Marine and the life-saving sentiments were wiped out. Yi Yu admitted it. Now naturally he should be punished for violating Yi Yu's promise. It can only be said that this guy has trapped himself. Just like that, under the eyes of everyone, a yellow light exceeded the speed of light and went straight to Shiryu of Rain. In just a blink of an eye, it came to Shiryu of Rain. Rain Shiryu's pupils expanded rapidly, and everything reflected in his eyes was yellow shining light. In desperation, Shiryu of the Rain directly sent his famous sword Leiyu, holding Leiyu across his chest. Yi Yu showed a disdainful expression. This was his golden conquerors, which was also blessed with the speed and explosive power of the shining fruit. Even Shiryu of Rain wanted to stop it. It was simply a fantasy. Sure enough, the yellow laser came into contact with Shiryu of the Rain's sword in an instant, with a loud bang, and terrifying energy exploded. A burst of smoke dissipated, and Shiryu of the Rain still stood in place, maintaining a blocking posture with a knife. The Whitebeard pirates were amazed for a while. Did this guy Shiryu of the Rain block it? The next moment, Fire Fist Ace roared loudly. It wasn't blocked. Shiryu of the Rain's saber was pierced. As Fire Fist Ace roared, everyone looked in the direction of Shiryu of Rain. Sure enough, there was a hole directly on Shiryu of Rain's sword, penetrating through it, and this small hole was directly facing the heart of Shiryu of Rain. Obviously, Shiryu's sword and his heart were directly penetrated. Everyone showed shocked expressions. Sure enough, in the face of Yi Yu's attack, everything was in vain. Although the sword of Shiryu of Rain was not a supremely fast sword, it was definitely a famous sword. Unexpectedly, under Yi Yu's attack, with a casual blow, it was just a small point of light that penetrated the past. Yi Yu's strength can be seen in Madara. This also directly shocked the people who were about to be tried by Yi Yu. Chapter 162 Report 5 Elders, I can't redeem you yet. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. At the beginning, the punishment of Kaido and Big Mom made many people feel relieved. After all, their lives were protected. Even if they lost everything, as long as they left their lives, it was enough. But now, after seeing the fate of Shiryu of the Rain, everyone was completely shocked, and they began to panic in their hearts. One by one, they began to think about whether they had made any mistakes before. If there were any mistakes that could lead to death, they would be finished. Gangji Yukong, Senguo, the three generals, Garp, Lieutenant General He, etc. all came to Yi Yu with anxiety and fear. The performance of the others was okay, but it was the first time for General Momoshiki to see such a big scene, and he was so frightened that his beautiful legs could not help but tremble. Looking at everyone, Yi Yu smiled slightly. Don't worry, I'm not a murderous demon. The reason why I killed Shiryu of Rain was entirely to fulfill my promise. Yi Yu said with a smile. Everyone nodded awkwardly, but they knew very well in their hearts that even if Yi Yu was not a murderous demon, he was definitely a devil. Sure enough, Yi Yu started to speak. If you guys want to be released, it will cost you 50 billion berries each. Yi Yu said with a smile. Everyone was completely speechless one by one. Although the price Yi Yu wanted was not high, but they were marines and had marine discipline. They could not act wantonly on this sea like the pirates. They plunder treasures, so they can't have so much money even with their lifetime savings. Warring States lowered his head, looking very cautious. No matter how much he thought about it, he would never have thought that he was a Marine Fleet Admiral, and his 2 battles against Yi Yu ended in failure. And, after the failure, wait, all you have to pay is the compensation for the land you ceded, which is very shameless. Mr. Yi Yu, we really can't afford that much money. Please see if you can let me call the World Headquarters and ask them for compensation. Warring States said embarrassedly. Yi Yu thought for a while. Well, that's okay too. But the phone call costs 100 million berries per minute. Yi Yu spread his hands and said. These words left these elite marines completely speechless. 100 million berry calls per minute. Why don't you go and grab it? But everyone was still smiling, not daring to show anything at all. Just kidding. If you dare to show anything in front of this devil, the end that awaits you will be terrifying. Helpless, although Warring States was very angry in his heart, and even had the urge to kill Yi Yu, the profiteer, but he didn't dare at all. The helpless Warring States had no choice but to smile, which looked uglier than crying. Mr. Yi Yu, you are right, 100 million berries a minute. Please let me call the headquarters. Warring States said cautiously, fearing that if he were not careful, Yi Yu would kill them with a casual blow. After dialing the world government number, the person who answered the phone was a Marine Major General who was left behind. At this time, this Major General did not know that the entire World United Army had been defeated. After hearing the request of the Warring States period, the Major General became sad. With such a large amount of war compensation, I can't even say what I say. According to past regulations, such a large amount needs to be reported to Master Cyborg Kong at the very least. The Major General of the Marine Headquarters said helplessly. At this time, Gangji Yukong's voice came from the other end of the phone in the Warring States period. Well, I am Cyborg Kong. I was also arrested during this war. I now officially approve you to send the money to Yi Yu. Cyborg Kong's face turned red and he spoke. Said. Major General Marine on the other end of the phone swallowed his saliva after hearing this. The live broadcast just now was suddenly interrupted. To be honest, he didn't know what happened at all. But looking at it now, even the steel-framed president of the armed forces did Master Kong also tell Yi Yu. However, Cyborg Kong has now been arrested and theoretically has no right to mobilize funds for the time being. Major General Marine scratched his head and continued to speak. Sengoku Fleet Admiral, Cyborg Kong-sama. I'm really sorry, because all of you have been arrested, so, you can't decide on the allocation of the World Headquarters funds. I think I'd better send this matter to the 5 elders and let them handle it. Major General Marine said helplessly. There is only so much I can do now. If I send it to the 5 elders, I don't know if the 5 elders will read the report of a Major General of mine. Now in the entire World Headquarters, most of the combat power has been deployed to fight Yi Yu, and even Lieutenant General Yishi has not stayed behind. The only one who can contact the 5 elders now is Major Generals like himself. At this time, an old voice came over. Well, I am the 5 elders. All of our 5 elders are dead except for me. As the pinnacle of power in the world government, I allow you to compensate Yi Yu with funds. I saw behind these marine elites. The second elder with a long beard spoke directly. Although there were large scars all over his back, fortunately, no vital parts were injured. So the second elder in the 5 elders barely managed to protect his life. What? Only one of the 5 elders is dead. Moreover, the one who was lucky enough to survive was arrested. Isn't the entire world government just an empty shell now? Major General Marine, who didn't know the existence of Lord I Am, widened his eyes and couldn't believe the sound he heard. Major General Marine felt his hands begin to tremble. Is there anything left to negotiate here? If we attack directly and occupy this empty shell, what kind of compensation do we need? Major General Marine began to think deeply. On the other side, he noticed that there was no sound from the other end of the phone for a long time, and the second elder spoke again. Why are you still standing there? Hand over Barry quickly. Laozi's life is the most important thing. The second elder of the 5 elders scolded fiercely into the phone. Major General Marine had never come into contact with existences of the level of 5 elders. He was so frightened that he nodded hurriedly. Yes, Lord 5 elders. I'll have someone do it right away, and I'll notify the finance department right away. After the second elder heard this, he slowly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there were still a group of people left at the world headquarters. Otherwise, even if they wanted to cede territory and pay compensation, they couldn't find anyone to implement it. Just when everyone breathed a sigh of relief, various roars came from the other end of the phone, as if they were going through some big battle. Major General Marine continued to report to the second elder of the 5 elders before hanging up the phone. L. Reporting to Lord 5 elders, there is a situation on our side now. What should we do now? Major General Marine asked eagerly. The second elder looked confused. What would happen at this time? Wouldn't the biggest situation be that the combined army failed in the battle against EU? Reporting to Lord 5 elders, there is indeed a situation here, the Revolutionary Army. It's the Revolutionary Army, they are attacking, and half of the world headquarters has been occupied by them. Major General Marine said helplessly. Chapter 163. The Revolutionary Army suddenly invades the world headquarters. Faced with such a major incident, he, a mere soldier, naturally had no right to decide how to respond, so he hurriedly asked the 5 elders before they hung up the phone. The second elder of the 5 elders felt depressed in his heart. At this time, he really didn't expect bastards like the Revolutionary Army to take advantage of this situation. There is no need to think about it. The remaining soldiers and generals cannot be the opponents of the Revolutionary Army. Now that I cannot protect myself, I still need to command the world government. The second elder of the 5 elders is feeling depressed. First of all, you need to stay calm and choose the highest ranking officer among you, who will have full command. By the way, Magellan of the Great Prison Under the Sea is a good choice. You follow his command, to fight against the Revolutionary Army together. The second elder among the 5 elders really started to take command and fight. This made the surrounding marine elites twitch their mouths one by one, saying what the hell. Now they can't even save themselves, and they still want to command the world-saving headquarters. And haven't you heard that EU said that the cost of a 1-minute phone call is 100 million berries? This phone call is very expensive. Gang Gukong couldn't stand it any longer, so he poked the second elder with his hand, indicating that the second elder had not done anything yet. As long as this group of people is released and returns to the world headquarters, then the problem of the Revolutionary Army will be solved. The second elder finally reacted and hurriedly returned the issue to the issue of compensation. The most important thing for you now is to try every means to redeem us. We need a large ransom, do you know? 5 elders said hurriedly. It's just. What he received in response was a lifelong miserable cry. While Major General Marine was reporting to the 5 elders on the phone, the Revolutionary Army had already rushed over. A bow and arrow with an armed color was fired directly on the neck of Major General Marine. With a scream, Major General Marine collapsed directly on the ground and fell unconscious. Hey, you damn thing, don't die now. Finish my affairs first, finish my affairs first. The second elder of 5 elders was about to cry. No tears. The marine elites around them all looked very helpless. No one could have expected that such an unexpected incident would happen. Now, their compensation may not be recovered either. Maybe they will all be occupied by the Revolutionary Army. Yi Yu also had a funny look on his face. I really didn't expect that the Revolutionary Army would be dispatched at this time. However, these are matters of the Revolutionary Army and have nothing to do with me. I am too lazy to intervene. Now I have my own things to deal with. Hey, let me tell you guys, let alone the ransom, 1 minute of phone calls costs 100 million belly. You used it for 5 minutes in total, give me 500 million belly. Yi Yu came directly to 5 elders in front of the second elder, he stretched out his palm. 5 elders. The second elder suddenly shed a lot of sweat from his forehead. His words were the imperial edict, and he had never been in the habit of taking money. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Yi Yu, I didn't take the money. But don't worry, I will definitely pay you back double the amount. 5 elders explained hurriedly. Yi Yu looked directly at the second elder with contempt. Give it back to me. Your world headquarters will be gone soon. What capital do you have to give it back to me? I want money now. If there is no money, you can go underground to see Shiryu of Rain. Yi Yu smiled, said, but the threat was very obvious. The 5 elders were completely confused. This boy Yi Yu absolutely did what he said. No matter how much he thought, he would never have imagined that one of his own 5 elders would one day worry about 500 million belly. The anxious 5 elders hurriedly looked around and showed a pleading expression to these marine elites. Now they knew very well that as fellow prisoners, they were not the superiors of these marines. If they did not beg them, in order to save their lives, no one will give them a ransom. Seeing the expressions of the 5 elders, Marine Fleet Admiral Sengoku felt secretly happy. He was often scolded by the 5 elders. He never thought that one day, the 5 elders would pray to him. Oh, I think we should collect some money for the second elder first. I think someone will handle the riot at the world headquarters. Let's pay the phone bill first. and wait for the rest to be handled by the Revolutionary Army incident. After that, we will make plans. Cyborg Kong was the first to speak, finding a step for 5 elders. The second elder immediately gave Cyborg an expression of appreciation, and he had secretly planned in his heart that if he could return to the Holy Land of Mary Joa, he would definitely report to Lord IM and promote Cyborg's position to one of the new 5 elders. So, everyone contributed money one after another, and finally the second elder's life was saved. The people in the world government could only continue to be imprisoned in prison because they could not pay for it in a short period of time. In order to repay the meal money of the Whitebeard pirates, these characters became use free labor one by one. If you want to build a network, a large laboratory is indispensable. It was initially decided to build the laboratory on an isolated island. And these strong men who once shocked the whole world began to move bricks for EU one by one, and cut everything. Mud, if others see it, they will definitely open their mouths in shock. On the other side, the whole world is not peaceful. The Revolutionary Army, led by Long, is making a big fuss here. A woman held a flag in her hand and just waved it, and the combatants of the entire Revolutionary Army were like chicken blood, and they were full of combat effectiveness. And a man who looks like a crow has very terrifying combat power. He has the ability to fly at high altitudes and can easily suppress the remaining people in the world headquarters. The obese man made the whole earth sway from side to side. Groups of world headquarters personnel could not even stand up straight, let alone fight. Chapter 164. A mysterious man appears in the world headquarters. Sabo was among them, holding his own steel pipe weapon and waving it to his heart's content. Dragon Claw, Sabo shouted, his hands turned extremely dark, and he pinched a Major General Marine. In an instant, Major General Marine was crushed to death on the spot. The Demon King's eyes flashed, and he threw a deathly frown. His eyes turned into a terrifying bomb. After landing, a terrifying explosion occurred. Dozens of Marines were blown away in an instant. The revolutionary Long was even more frightened, walking towards the world government headquarters building step by step with his own big steps. The people around him were knocked unconscious by the shock before they even got close to the dragon. Above the entire sky, under the pressure of the dragon's momentum, the clouds became billowing, and heavy rain poured down from the sky from time to time. Strong winds blew around, mixed with heavy rain, and began to blow wantonly. Some people were even blown away by this crazy storm. A bolt of lightning appeared, and the light shone on the face of the revolutionary Long. Half of his face was exposed with tattoos, making him look very ferocious. Sob, our main battlefield is not here, hurry up, the Holy Land of Mariajoya is our main battlefield. Revolutionary Long murmured with a serious look on his face. Under Long's order, the entire revolutionary army became more combat effective, especially a female commander, who waved her military flag and once again gave them more power. In less than 5 minutes, the entire world headquarters was turned upside down by the revolutionary dragon. In this way, the entire revolutionary army rushed towards the Holy Land Mariajoya. All the celestial dragons in Mariajoya naturally noticed the arrival of the revolutionary army. Now the whole Mariajoya is in a tense atmosphere. Those piggy-like things actually dare to rebel. The hateful lower-class humans actually took advantage of our weak military strength to attack us. But now that the 5 elders are gone, we are the only guards. I wonder if they can protect us. I don't know which Tianlong person expressed his worries, and instantly the entire group of Tianlong people began to show expressions of fear. If these guards cannot protect them, are they allowed to become slaves of the revolutionary army? Inferior humans actually enslave the celestial dragons. We are the descendants of gods. When I thought that some of my own group of people could become disgusting slaves, these Tianlong people lost their composure for an instant. How about we run away? With so much money, I think it's not difficult to survive in this world. But, except for the Holy Land Mariajoya, the whole world is full of low-class people. Do you want to live with those piggies? As soon as these words were said, these Tianlong people hesitated again. It was unimaginable that these people could still have such ridiculous conversations when they were facing a disaster. How about we go to Fishman Island? I heard there are a lot of mermaids. A fat Tianlong man said with a disgusting expression with drool on his mouth. You idiot, don't you know that Fishman Island was assigned to you a month ago? Are you going there to seek death? There are more terrifying existences there than the revolutionary army. Another Draco immediately stopped the fat Draco's stupid idea. At this time, an extremely old voice came over. You idiots, what are you panicking about? How could the Holy Land Mariajoya be captured so easily? I have sent the Sword Master to suppress them. The old voice came, and even these high-ranking celestial dragons knelt on the ground in fear. The speaker of this voice was their ancestor, Lord IM. And the rumored celestial dragon Sword Master actually exists. If so, then they will be safe. The rumored Sword Master is 300 years old and is said to be able to penetrate 8 mountains with one blow. The intelligence soldier at the world headquarters looked nervous. This was the first time he had encountered such a scene. He wanted to call the 5 elders headquarters, but then he remembered. The current world headquarters has long been there is no strong person to guard it. It's over. It's over. Will the entire world government be overthrown now? The intelligence soldier said nervously. Even when facing the Whitebeard pirates, although the entire marine headquarters was beaten to pieces, no one overthrew the world government. And this time, these extreme revolutionary troops will directly overthrow the world government. It's over now. It's only been 3 years since first joined Marine. In the past 3 years, the status of world government has been declining, and the power of pirates has been strengthening. It's great now. This year, I didn't expect that the pirates, the Revolutionary Army and other opposition forces on the sea have begun to overthrow the world government. The frightened intelligence soldier put down the phone in his hand. He was at a loss and finally decided to run away. There is no way, there is no benefit at all from following the world government now, even the whereabouts of the 5 elders are unknown now. In a state of letterlessness, who would think of risking their lives to deal with these revolutionary troops? So the intelligence soldier began to run away. As he was walking, he bumped into a strong man, fell to the ground, and looked up. This man looked to be in his 30s, with long hair, a long white knife on his back, and scars all over his face. His clothes don't look like Marines' clothes at all, but they don't look like those of the Revolutionary Army either. It's obvious that this man is a stranger. But that doesn't matter anymore. You, who are you? How come I've never seen you? Run away quickly. The Revolutionary Army has occupied the world headquarters. Their next target is the Holy Land Marie Joya. Intelligence Bing warned, then stood up from the ground and continued to run away. Chapter 165 Swordmaster Bickley vs. Revolutionary Army. Stupid Marine, I have already told you that Marine is not reliable at all. The man with the white sword on his back said disdainfully with a frown on his face. The intelligence soldier originally wanted to argue a few words, but looking at the surrounding environment, there were figures of the Revolutionary Army everywhere. At this time, it would not do any good to get angry and fight with this man. He might just be killed by the Revolutionary Army. Got it done. I tried my best to persuade you, but you didn't listen. Then don't blame me. Goodbye. Life is still important. The intelligence soldier yelled and started to flee from here. However, just after taking 2 steps, a sacred white light appeared, and with a whoosh, a slash appeared. Directly cut the intelligence soldier in half on the spot. Along with a scream, a large amount of blood spurted out from the intelligence soldier's body, which looked very strange and terrifying. The man holding the knife had no expression on his face and remained calm. HMPH, accept the baptism of my sword of justice. Being able to die by my sword is a blessing you have earned throughout your life. The man holding the sword said coldly. Then without looking back, he walked straight towards the depths of the world headquarters. With long flowing hair, the sword master touched his hand to the long sword on his back. This sword is also called the Holy Sword. It is specially used to kill evil things and has the power to absorb the terror of the dead. Its own quality is even higher than that of Demon Sword First Generation Kidetsu. Coupled with his own arrogant strength and the immortality surgery that resulted from his previous surgery, this 300-year-old great swordsman has unlimited life just like Lord I Am. He even became Master Im's professional bodyguard, becoming the first person in the world besides I Am. Tap tap tap. In the crazy storm, the sword master walked with his holy sword. A group of Revolutionary Army soldiers saw the Juggernaut and noticed that he was not from the Revolutionary Army. They all rushed towards the Juggernaut Bickley, shouting. Bickley showed a mocking expression. They're just a bunch of fish, but they want to stop me. The corners of Bickley's mouth raised slightly. The next moment, there was a loud shout, drink. The powerful Conqueror's voice followed his voice in less than a tenth of a second. In an instant, Conqueror's was strangely attached to Bickley's voice and spread around. In an instant, the 100 Revolutionary Army soldiers who rushed towards Bickley stopped where they were, motionless. When Bickley slowly walked past them, their orifices were bleeding. Bickley continued to walk forward, and Revolutionary Long, Sabo and others felt the release of Conquerors. Hey, Sabo, did you feel Conquerors just now? The E King said with a surprised look on his face. Even you feel it. I feel the same, but the release time seems to be only a moment. It's hard to believe that it will be Conquerors. Sabo asked with a look of confusion on his face. I have seen many people release Conquerors, but anyone that is not a large-scale continuous release will definitely attract strong attention from the people around them. In a situation like this, it was really the first time for me to encounter such a terrifying Conqueror's release method in just a moment, and then disappear instantly. Let's go over and take a look. I can confirm that it is indeed Conquerors, and this person has mastered such a weird release method. Maybe it's I Am. Revolutionary Long had a solemn expression on his face. If I am here, even his own dragon, who was once the most ferocious criminal in the world, may not be his opponent. Let's go together. Revolutionary Long spoke again. Following Long's order, the figures disappeared from the place again, and rushed towards the direction of Swordmaster Bickley in an instant. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Several figures fell down and surrounded Bickley who was advancing. Piccolo looked at everyone with his own eyes, showing a hint of excitement. You are worthy to be the dead souls under my holy sword and accept the baptism of my holy sword. After saying this, Bickley changed the holy sword in his hand and raised it high above his head. A dazzling light appeared, like the sun, which blinded people. I really didn't expect. The legendary Lord I Am is a great swordsman. Revolutionary Long Yan said solemnly. He could feel the old power emitted by the holy sword, and could conclude that the lifespan of the person in front of him must have exceeded the limit of human beings. That should be I Am, the god in this world. Lord I Am. Bickley looked surprised after hearing this. No. I think you have misunderstood. Bickley suddenly laughed. The people around him all looked at Bickley with doubts on their faces. Looking at the suspicious glances cast by everyone, Bickley stopped smiling and turned to speak to everyone. I'm not Lord I Am. Lord I Am is far more powerful than me. I'm just Lord Im's bodyguard. Baikali raised the corners of his mouth slightly, showing a disdainful look at everyone. Lord I Am is much more powerful than you think, a group of guys who have never seen the world. Not Lord I Am. The expression on Revolutionary Long's face became more solemn. The aura exuded by this man was not weak. The Revolutionary Long Z believes that his strength is higher than that of the four emperors, otherwise he would not have been labeled as the most wanted criminal by the Tianlong people before, and was called the most dangerous guy. But, even his own Revolutionary Long, in front of the Sword Master in front of him, would be shocked by the aura emanating from him. This terrifying existence is actually not the real boss. Don't take it lightly, everyone. Even if he is not I Am, he is definitely not weak in strength. At least he can control his domineering power better than me. Revolutionary Long Yan said with serious eyes. The surrounding Revolutionary Army soldiers all looked surprised. Their mastery of domineering energy was actually better than that of dragons. If I had known that the reason why Long was called the most dangerous guy, besides his storm fruit, there was another important reason, and that was the use of domineering power. You must know that Long is Garp's child, and his physical skills are inherited from Garp. In terms of physical skills, he is even better than his predecessor. In a sense, Revolutionary Dragon is a Garp in his prime who ate a perverted devil fruit. This terrifying fighting power can be seen in Madara. The Revolutionary Long Duoduo has surpassed the level of 4 emperors. In a sense, Long at his peak has surpassed One Piece Roger. And, the person in front of me is actually more domineering than a dragon. Naturally, the people around him didn't dare to be careless. Buzz. Another terrifying Conquerors was released directly. Nearly 200 of the revolutionary troops rushing over were knocked unconscious again. Even the commander of the 4th Army on the side felt a headache. This sword master the Conquerors released by the body are no weaker than the Revolutionary Dragon. No wonder their boss dragon asks them to be careful and not to be careless. Crow, the commander of the Northern Army, took the lead in launching an attack. The swarms of black crows all rushed towards Swordmaster Bickley. For a moment, Swordmaster's vision was directly blocked. The commander of the Eastern Army quickly moved away from his position 1,000 meters, found a high foothold, and took shelter. The flag in his hand shone brightly, and bright lights appeared in his hand, but his beautiful eyes looked very dignified. The remaining revolutionaries Long, Sabo, and the Demon King made fighting gestures. The commander of the Western Army, Mori, did not know when he had sneaked underground and disappeared. The commander of the Confederate Army flew into the sky and began to release one after another cannonballs at the Sword Master.